Is dating your type secretly holding you back from finding the love of your life? Have we all secretly been self sabotaging our love life by dating the same person over and over again? Well, there is a woman who had that same question and decided to do a little bit of an experiment to figure out what the true answer is, and you won't believe how it ended for her. Also, the Wizard Liz and the update on her situation with her ex-fiance Landon Nickerson, and how the public has turned on her slowly but surely. Very sad. Also, we have a couple of really interesting and also crazy TikTok stories that we're going to break down and discuss on the show. And of course, our also infamous Discord story time. All of this coming up on the show.
I expect them to marry me. I do. I'm traditional or whatever. Like, yes, I expect them to marry me. I don't know that, like, I think I'll meet somebody, but I could not.
People always said to me, you'll be surprised by who you fall in love with.
Okay, we don't want to get copywritten, but it looks like she's got like a whole schedule set out of just literally going out and dating different people. So this is it's like she's taking this very seriously.
Okay, I'm undateable.
I started trying to imagine this man that I would never imagine.
Okay.
Who is the man I would not expect? Maybe someone I didn't find physically attractive?
He could be a terrible.
Physical attraction is definitely going to hold you back if you keep dating the same type of person because of the way that they look, for sure.
Salmon farmer or something, and you're like, I never would have thought, but now I'm in love with this salmon farmer. What if I marry somebody who has such different design tastes? First of all, no one will ever marry me, obviously, so not really a concern. And what if he sucks? What if he sucks?
Question for you guys. Do you guys think you date the same type of person over and over and over again? Do you think you suffer from this, just dating your type all the time?
When picturing this mystery man.
Uh-oh. Wait a second. Okay. I guess, okay, this works out. All right.
This.
Copyright for us.
I think we all have a type. Yes, even you sitting there thinking, I don't have a type. Yes, you do. Because I'm not just talking
Chat, I'm curious. What's your type? Tell me in the chat. What's your type?
about whether you like blondes or brunettes or green eyes. I'm talking about a pattern.
I bet he's on the fringes of society. And if that's the case, oh, game over. I love it.
That pattern you keep finding yourself in.
Surprise, I'm attracted to a man who's emotionally avoidant. It's just so hot. Why is it so hot to be emotionally inarticulate?
A dynamic that hooks you again and again if you're not careful.
Why? Why do I do this? I don't know. I think I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I feel like I like get to this point where I understand people, and then I can like empathize and explain away anything they do. It's probably not good.
That toxic type that can leave you crying at 1 a.m.
Some people said black skin buff, avoidant, emotionally unavoided, dark skin British, rich, that's your type. Someone said person who exercises, handsome mixed with a little bit of ugly. What is handsome mixed with ugly? How can you actually have both of those at the same time?
Alone in your bed, asking out to no one in particular. How do I keep finding these men? That's what I'm talking about when I talk about type. And you can spend a lifetime chasing them. So,
okay, opposite question. What is the type of guy you tend to always attract in your relationships, like on a consistent basis?
what happens when after years of pursuing the same type and years of things not working out, you finally say, F it. To kick off my grand experiment in dating outside my type, I started with first giving chances to guys who I wasn't physically attracted to.
Oh yeah, I'm going on dates. I gotta be hot again. Well, I haven't been on any dates. All these freaking whatever average Joes are like too good to respond to my very funny messages. Very funny. I'm very engaging. And they're not even cute. I feel like I'm doing them all a favor. This is charity work. I feel like this should be a tax write-off.
I figured my taste has led me astray so far.
Wait. Did she just say that she's approaching these men via dating app? Because she said something about my messages. What? Okay. We just started. We're in the first couple of, I don't want to get upset. Okay. I don't want to get upset. Chat, don't let me get upset.
So why not toss some wild cards into the mix? And listen, I know plenty of women who swear they don't date for looks. Never met a man who claims this, by the way, but that's a discussion for another day. And you know what? Kudos to those women.
So I'm a little bit confused. How is she going to actually determine that the guy is her type or not? If she's essentially just starting off by, like she said, only going for guys who just don't look like how she would regularly go for. But you don't really know if that's a different type of okay, let's see.
I guess. Maybe they're better women than me. But what I ultimately learned from this experiment is that, frankly, the ugly ones will break your heart just as quickly as the hot ones will. This guy I was seeing broke up with me, so I feel pretty bad. Feeling pretty bad about myself. So, as my sister poetically put it, if both have the same capacity to ruin your life, you might as well pick one you actually enjoy looking at. And that was the end of that. Phase 2. So next I thought maybe...
So I guess it didn't work out picking guys that weren't her physical type, just basically dating guys she's not attracted to. I would never advise that. I don't think that's... Well, I think that purposely dating guys that you're unattracted to is not going to work out for you, because then every time you look at her, like she said, you're going to be very unhappy with your decision.
Maybe my type has nothing to do with looks. Maybe my real type...
Someone said the ugly guys break your heart worse than the hot guys. That can sometimes... Do you guys think that's true, chat?
Is men who need me. And more importantly, men who made me feel needed. I thought back on my long history of codependence. As a middle child and de facto mediator in a large family, I found a sense of identity in being the helper, being the facilitator. That's how I felt useful as a kid. It's how I felt lovable.
See, this can be a big element to dating your type, because sometimes your type can end up being someone who like barely wants you around, and then that becomes your actual addiction, in the sense that like that becomes the type that you consistently find yourself always going chasing. Oh, why is this not showing on my complete apologies TikTok, because I don't know why this is not showing on your screen. Why don't you guys say something? You guys should have said something. Let me make sure this is showing for you guys. There we go. TikTok, why didn't you say something? This should have been shown for you guys.
It felt worthwhile at all. Then, as an adult, I noticed that I gravitated towards men who needed me to fix something for them, to help them get sober, to motivate them, or to be their therapist. And I steered clear of men that didn't have a clear problem or a deep sadness that I could try to fix. Because if they were happy, then what would they ever want with me? This pattern was largely subconscious for many years of my
That's a good realization there.
Adulthood. But once I named it, I thought, okay, then I'm gonna start choosing the very type of men who scare me the most. Men who already have the life they want. Men who don't need me. And so began my phase of choosing men who seemed like they had it all going for them. Career, looks, friends, no obvious problem to be fixed. Men who were thriving because their lives were seemingly full and brimming. And they were busy, too. Really busy. I always felt like I was just a few steps away from finally securing their attention, with their approval dangled just barely in front of me, like the ever-receding end of the rainbow. But if I worked just a little bit harder, made myself just a little sexier, just a little cooler, surely I could finally reach it.
I'm going to have a show on this, because this actually is a trick that your own mind can use to self-sabotage you, because then you end up going for men who literally that's how you end up with guys that do nothing for you, because you spend so much time chasing their validation that your brain doesn't have any more room to think about, well, do I even like this guy? Do I even want this guy? And I actually ironically, I get a ton of private messages sent to me that are asking me, like they'll send me a whole book of like, oh, well, I did this and he responded like this. And then so it doesn't seem like he likes me anymore. And why is he reacting like this? And why is he reacting like that? And then when I respond, I'll basically ask them, well, based on everything you just said, is this even the type of guy that you would want to be in a relationship with? Like, even if he liked you, would you even like this type of guy based on how you're describing him and the way he acts and all that other stuff? And they usually end up realizing like, oh my God, like I don't even actually like the guy. Even if he liked me, that was all I was trying to basically shoot towards, is trying to get him to like me. But when he does like me, I'm never going to like that type of guy or want to be in a relationship with that type of guy. So it's kind of like a self-sabotaging thing that your mind will do.
So I ran and I ran, and I never found where the rainbow touched the earth. At one point, he told me, he was like, yeah, I kind of have this thing where sometimes I'm really, really into people, and then once they meet me there, I back away. And I was like, oh, I mean.
So if a guy said that to you, that basically means as soon as he feels like you actually like him and he doesn't have to like completely chase you and feel like you're disinterested, he will immediately pull away. So, you know, some of you guys talk about this concept. Some guys are addicted to the chase and they don't have enough emotional maturity that when they actually start feeling your love, that they can properly respond to that. They just continue to chase and chase without understanding like, okay, when she actually shows me love and care as well, how do I respond to that in a healthy way?
Thank you for telling me that you're undateable. That's pretty bad. And that's when I realized I maybe hadn't gotten as far from my type as I thought. These men didn't need me to help them get sober or improve their careers or be their therapist, but they needed me to boost their ego, to make them feel like big, strong men, to make them feel like they were on top of their game and could keep their options open. And finally, I was tired of it. These dudes be being so weird up in here. They be being so super weird. And I love a freak. You know, I'm open to weird. I love a freak, but they're not the freak flavor I'm looking for. It's a weird taste. I don't think I'm gonna keep dating. So I stopped dating. I took a break and tried to return to myself. I'm still gonna go out and do stuff. Like, it's a beautiful evening. I'm gonna fucking have a great time. I spent time enjoying my friends, my family, working out, doing the things that brought me joy.
Okay, now I'm curious. I wonder if in this process she's actually going to find someone when literally now she's trying the least, because she started off on dating apps, which is the worst way to go about it. And now she's transitioning to just saying, F it, like, I'm just going to enjoy myself.
And made me feel worthwhile. I made YouTube videos. I hope one day that I have the romance with a partner that I have with YouTube. It feels like the place where I make sense for the first time. That's like the feeling that I think about, like I want to find in a romantic partner one day. Like a romantic partner who makes me make sense. I made myself laugh. I bought myself this sweatshirt because I thought it was a funny sweatshirt, debating wearing it on future dates. I went to therapy. I held space. I journaled. April 16th, 2023. I don't know why, but patience just seems like the name of the game these days. I keep, maybe wistfully, having this feeling that something's around the corner. Of course, I'd like it to be someone, but it may not. But it's true that something's around tomorrow's corner. The unknown and aliveness of life.
Someone said she needs to buy a line journal.
And the very next date I went on was with you. You. I found you online. You were polite, inquisitive, thoughtful.
Okay, so this is his Hinge profile of the guy that she met. This is her, you. I get along with people best who understand that the perfect workout playlist is half middle school girl jams and half trap house. Okay, chat, if you've seen this Hinge profile, tell me, are you swiping right? Well, you don't swipe. Are you hearting this Hinge profile or are you nexting this Hinge profile? Tell me right now if you saw this, because clearly this spoke to her in some way, shape, or form. I'm not on dating apps, so I don't know what works or doesn't. Are you hearting this or are you Xing this if you see this on Hinge? Someone said it's a good response. Someone said reporting. Okay, you guys. Someone said nope. Next year, pass. Okay, he's okay. Why are you guys passing though? Okay, break it down for me though. What's wrong? What's wrong with this profile? I thought that's what women like, don't they? Don't you all like guys who will be outdoors? He's outdoors, you know, in the cold. Oh, that's manly stuff. He's probably building a fire. He's probably got a fire. He's in the forest. Okay. He's got glasses. He looks smart. Don't you guys like? Someone just said earlier, I like guys who are medium ugly. or guys that are handsome mixed with a little bit of ugly. Is that not what this is? He's got like, you know, glasses, a nerd look. He's outside building fires. It's giving feminine. How though? Just not my type physically. He's giving middle-aged dad. Okay, the caption is off. What's wrong with the caption? Is it the middle school girl jams part? Interesting. Someone said I don't like white kings. Okay, interesting. All right. The profile is too scripted. Okay.
We talked about how I'm haunted by orbs,
Okay, so she loved this clip. She's eating that up.
etc. For our first date, you took me to a tiki bar, one of your favorites, and the date was good. Just had a first date with Justin. He seemed almost a little proper. Maybe just a little proper. Like I didn't want to curse in front of him. He was really taking an interest.
I actually think this is a really cool way to remind yourself, one, how you felt on the date about the guy, and then also remind yourself of like what's actually transpiring in your relationship, both good and bad. So as time goes on, you have like an easy way to remember everything that's actually happening in a factual sense. Because what happens with memory sometimes is you might go on a couple of dates with a guy, and depending on how you feel about that guy, you might end up skewing your memory of how or what happened in the past based on how you feel in that moment or in the past couple of days. And so you might remember the way that he was messaging 5 other girls, flirty messages, but now that you like him, the way you remember it is that, oh, those were his friends from high school that he just likes to have fun with and jokes around with. So you can misremember things if you don't like factually state them as they're happening or when your memory's still fresh, you know?
Just asking like a lot of questions, which basically has never happened with any guy I've gone on a date with. He had really like kind of reflective, insightful things to say. Yeah, I basically wanted to smile a lot. You were confident, considerate, hyper intelligent, and beautiful. My God, you were beautiful. I mean, I was like very attractive.
Chat, is this your type? Yes or no? Tell me in the chat. Okay, everyone has a different type, right? Clearly she loves this man. She thinks he looks amazing. I'm just curious, this your type? Yes or no? And why or why not? Just out of curiosity.
Attracted to him. He was very cute. I found him to be very cute and adorable. He was in very good shape. He was in very shape. He was like busting out of that shirt. Fucking
Okay,
busting out. Yeah, he was in very good shape. I wanted to fucking jump him.
Okay.
Wow, that's up. That is messed up. But it wasn't an instant spark. And it wasn't instant banter. It was something steadier. Intention, effort, consideration. And the thing is, I'd had the banter and instant personality connection in previous relationships, and none of them worked out. So if this felt different from that, maybe that was really, really good. So we dated. I strayed further from my usual pattern and strayed deeper into you. As I got acquainted with your mind, your values, your sense of humor, weird voices, and taste in residential architecture, your sense of...
Do they look like they go together, chat? I don't know.
Deeper into you.
So some of you have like you're all women, so you have like a good sense of this. Is this like a couple that you think like they match? You know what I mean? Like they go together, like you could see them together? Because I know women have that sort of like feeling. You could see this.
As I got acquainted with your mind, your values, your sense of humor, weird voices, and taste in residential architecture, there were 3 major events that awakened me to the idea that you were different. I was blown away by the amount of effort you put in. From planning elaborate dates, gifts, surprises, flowers for no reason. Now, to be clear, these are just superficial gestures, and I'd learned long ago that romantic gestures alone do not equal commitment. Actually, in my experience, romantic gestures usually just mean a guy wants something from me. So what did you want? I actually Googled.
Well, yes, I do agree that if guys are overdoing it, then there definitely is an element of love bombing in that. But I don't think that romantic gestures in themselves are bad. You just want to be weary of like guys who seem to be going so over the top that you're like, all right, like there's no way that this is sustainable. For example, a guy who's like on the phone, talking, I want to speak to you every second of every day, falling asleep, trying to fall asleep on FaceTime with you every day. Romantic gestures like every day he's picking you up from work, dropping you off back home. Every day there's flowers. You know what I mean? Like something where you're just like, this feels great and this feels amazing. But there's no way like you can sustain this amount of energy just focused on me, because at some point your energy and your time has to shift into doing other things and worrying about other things and prioritizing other things. Not that you won't be a priority, but like there's a way to prioritize someone that's balanced and sustainable, as opposed to in a way that's more like I'm just doing this for a short period of time.
How do you know if you're being love bombed? I actually
Great question to ask.
Googled that. And I asked my therapist, is love bombing when you just feel really happy all the time? Well, she debated, that depends. What does he expect from you in return? It was a question I'd asked you myself, so I told her what you had told me. Nothing. It's not tit for tat, you said. It's not like that. These are just the things I like to do for the people I care about. My therapist sighed. I don't think that's love bombing, she lamented. I'm sorry to break it to you, but that might just be regular old love. Nice try. I wasn't buying it.
It also depends on what the gestures are, right? Because like I said, over the top gestures can obviously be love bombing, versus gestures that, might not take super amounts of effort on a consistent basis is not necessarily love bombing.
You asked a hypothetical relationship question. What would you do if XYZ happened in our relationship? And I never know how to answer these kinds of hypotheticals. I'm afraid of saying the wrong thing or of misspeaking. And
hypotheticals are great questions to ask people, because you get a way of seeing and understanding their thought process, and how they would work through a problem or a situation without actually having to go through it with them.
Having it held against me forever, so I began to fumble through my answer, and sensing my panic, you stopped me. And I will never forget what you said. Hey, there's no right answer. There's just whatever you think based on your experience, and whatever I think based on my experience.
This guy's a pro. If that's what he's actually saying to her, he must be watching a show or something, reading some books, because he's got the right idea and a right approach to getting someone to be just authentically themselves. Then you can make the decision on whether that's your person based on who they authentically are. Actually, this is kind of ironic. I was thinking we were going to learn something from her. We might be learning something from him, because that is exactly what I would advise all of you to be doing in your dating life. When you're asking hypothetical questions, for example, just to try and get an understanding of like the guy's thought process. If he starts trying to feel like he's trying to answer your question in the way that he thinks you want him to answer, tell him there's no right answer. I just want to hear your perception, your perspective, and your opinion on the situation. I'm not going to judge you whether you choose one thing or the other, because it allows that person to feel like it's an open, safe space to talk and just be themselves. And then you can judge in your own spare time, but you just don't have to tell him that you're judging his answer, but you want him to be giving you honest answers.
And we'll just figure out the rest from there. Where did you learn this?
This is exactly what I was just thinking that. I'm like, he's on it. So this is stuff that I'm advising for all of you. So I'm wondering where he's getting this. He might be a pro. Okay. We might be dealing with one of these, the nerd guys that look like they're nerdy and don't know anything about love or relationships. And he secretly knows a lot, and I no.
How dare you sit?
Watched this before. I haven't. I get a feeling I have a sixth sense. I get a feeling when people say certain things of what might come later, because I know how people respond. I don't know everything, but I have that. It's like a tick in my brain.
You might have isn't something you're really supposed to talk about. So here we go. Yes, I fell in love with your personality, but that's not when I knew you were the one. I knew you were the one when I fell in love with the way you have conflict. Conflict. It will happen. So long as you unite yourself with anyone who isn't you. And conflict is where you see someone's character.
I love this. She's very smart. She's thinking relationship through in the way that will actually benefit you. Can't be thinking about a relationship as it relates to sunshines and rainbows. Got to be thinking about it as it relates to dealing with problems, because you're going to have problems, okay?
Their maturity, their ability to think beyond themselves. When we had conflict, you still treated me with care. Even in moments of annoyance or disappointment or anger, even in the hard moments, you took the time to hear me, the time to pause, the time to reassure me that even if we disagreed, that this moment wasn't going to be the end of us.
Always be looking for how a guy treats you when he's upset with you, because that's the real him, number one. And also, when you are able to see firsthand, I always advise that you should be looking forward to your first big fight with a guy, because that's the first opportunity you'll be able to see, is this going to be a real relationship for real? Or are we just kind of having like a fun thing that's not real? Because that first big fight is going to tell you a lot about the guy and the relationship that you're going to have with him for the rest of the time you're with him.
You showed me that there was a way to hold conflict in all of its inevitability without fearing whether you'd be there on the other side. Conflict without abandonment. Difference without condemnation. Effort without scorekeeping. I had long ago accepted that I'd always just be the one who cared more, tried harder, fought to make it all work. I thought that's just who I was. I wasn't hoping for this kind of care. I didn't even know it existed. So when one afternoon, about a year ago, you informed me that I needed to let you know my ring preferences, it all made sense. So I did, and another year went by, and then you...
I wonder what his name is. What does he look like his name is, chat? Just out of curiosity, what do you think his name is? I'm going with the Steven. Strong Steven. That's what I'm going with. I think his name's Steven.
You told me to pack for a trip to Montreal. You said you wanted to take me to this magical park where we could skate through a forest. Our third date was on skates. So I had my suspicions. Just in case my suspicions were right, I started trying to take better care of my nails.
Okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this footage, but this is so ridiculous and stupid that I'm filming it. So, a couple things are happening. I'm pretty sure that Justin is proposing to me in like 36 hours. Like, I'm pretty sure there's just been enough like clues and the timing, and I'm pretty sure. And we're going on this trip. And
I actually think it's cool. Obviously, it's kind of a buzzkill when it's not a surprise, but I actually think it's a good sign when the person being proposed to kind of has like a smidgen in their mind, like this could be the day. Because it usually means that both people are on the same page. It's better than one person being totally taken off guard to the point where they're like, oh my God, we have never even discussed this. At least the fact that they're both like, she's feeling like this is the day, and then maybe it ends up actually being the day, then they're clearly on the same page, had lots of discussion about it, what it would be like, what it would look like, and she's feeling that they're coming together. That's how you know you're kind of working together towards the same point.
for some reason, to pack for this trip, I got really excited about like getting really good travel size toiletries and like just like perfecting my travel bag. Not because it's a special trip, but because I've never like got my act together. And one of the things I spent like 2 hours researching was like the ideal nail kit, because I pick my nails really bad. It's like a nervous thing. I don't know. I pick my nails really bad and they're always a mess. So I need to like have proper tools with me so that I don't pick at them. And it came with this one tool that I guess is for removing cuticles. Oh, there's blood everywhere.
What?
It came with this one tool I've never even seen used before, but it's like for removing like excess cuticle. Anyway, I started using it
and I'm just bleeding.
Okay, stop.
All over the house.
I don't want to see
all over
that.
the couch.
Please stop.
I'm covered in blood and it
Please
won't.
stop. Please stop. Please stop.
It all made sense.
Please stop.
And the next morning, we flew to Montreal.
Chad, I don't hate blood. It just makes me slightly uncomfortable. Not just like ever so slightly. Just honestly, not even my blood, blood of other people. It makes me slightly uncomfortable. So I have to skip.
I got dressed to go skating and put on my most photogenic winter outfit. By the way, these socks, these are Bombas. Now,
Chat. Rate her fit 1 to 10. Rate her fit 1 to 10. What is this out of 10? This fit right here.
By the way, these socks, these are Bombas. Now, I'm not saying that if you wear Bombas socks, you are more likely to get engaged to the love of your life. The Bombas legal team has told me that I cannot claim that, so I'm not. All I'm saying is that I was wearing Bombas socks in this moment months before I knew they would sponsor this video. So if that's not meant to be, then I don't know what is. But let me just be very clear. There is no data proving that wearing Bombas socks, proving ones are merino wool back, kind of legally allowed. Donates in a use code Caroline for 20% off your first order. And then let me know if anything. So empowered by love and Bombas socks, we headed out to the skating forest. We skated around for a long time, and let me tell you, it was so much more beautiful in person than I expected. The air was freezing, I was wearing 2 pairs of pants, and I had no cuticles, but I could have stayed out there with you forever. You said.
Someone said I'm sleeping on the freeway tonight.
Determined to find a man who didn't need me. A man who was stable and established, who wouldn't just take from me.
Ombre. It's not an emerald. It's emerald cut, but I don't know exactly what stone this is. This might be something to do with her own personal birthstone. I can't really see. Can we get a good glimpse of that? Oh, okay, there it is. It looks a bit ombre-ish on my screen. What gem is that? Do you guys know what gem that is? Is this princess cut or emerald cut? I can't even tell. There's clearly diamonds around it. Interesting. But what gem is that in the middle? That looks like it looks amber to me, chat, the color from what I'm seeing. But it could just be the light. Someone said a chocolate diamond. I don't think they make those.
Who was excited to take care of me. Someone who would work as hard at relationships as I do. Someone who would eagerly embrace the inconvenience relation to consider
so you can see.
that I from looking for who was excited to take care of me.
Can you guys see that? Oh, you can't see it on the TikTok. Anyway, it actually looks pink. Actually, I think it's
someone
pink.
who would work as hard at
I like that. Okay, so that's I think that's a good lesson. And you know, part of dating is also understanding what's not working in your dating. Okay, okay. They're getting a little bit cozy here. We might have to. Okay, part of dating is also, I think, understanding like what is working and not working in your dating and in relationships, because I think that's part of like what she started to realize is she was experiencing the same pattern over and over again by dating the same type of guy over and over again. So the real element of dating outside her type really came when she started to look towards different character traits in a man and target those character traits as opposed to the ones she naturally is attracted to because of trauma that she's experienced. Because she talked earlier about basically being more attracted to basically guys that didn't need her because it created that cycle of having to chase and that addiction of having to chase after the guy's love because those guys didn't need her. But in the end, those guys ended up obviously not working out in relationships, which is why she was single at this point. And then when she started to kind of chase different character traits, guys that were more secure in their attachment style, guys who had a more balanced approach to love and relationships, then that's when she started to see a difference in the success, obviously, of her relationship. So I definitely think actually there's a lot of truth to dating outside your typical type, because sometimes the ways you'll be naturally attracted to your type will come through trauma as opposed to what you're just naturally what you're naturally attracted to will be sometimes the actual trauma. Someone said, what's this girl's page? So her page is, this is Carolyn Winkler. This is a great video that she made. It's called I Dated Outside My Type. This is what happened. This is her YouTube page, Carolyn Winkler. Carolyn spelled Carolyn and Winkler, Winkler on YouTube. So this is an awesome, awesome video. What do you guys think, chat, about dating outside your type? You think it's something that you want to try, something that you want to kind of inch towards? What is your type, and how do you think you're going to like date a little bit outside that? Like, how do you think you would start by doing that, dating something a little bit different? I definitely think there's a lot of truth to this. Okay, let's hop into our next segment here. Okay, so our next segment is her. Oh boy,
Landon just posted on.
So this is crazy. Basically, we have a situation where with the Wizard Liz, you guys know what happened with her and her ex-fiance Landon Nickerson. Now, there's some updates on the situation because since the last time we spoke, Landon has obviously, oops, let me go to the right place here. Let's make sure we're
Landon
okay,
just
perfect. So since the last time we spoke, Landon has ex-girlfriend, right? Landon's ex-girlfriend has actually come out and made some, I guess you could say, allegations about him and his character, what they went through in their situation. The fact that, long story short, he stalked her, not just where she was in Miami, but also in Ibiza, and basically was very toxic to her, cheated on her a bunch of times, got her pregnant actually, and she even had to get rid of the baby. So there's been a lot of basically statements made that essentially the Wizard Liz isn't the first girl that he's done this same thing to. And Abby just essentially sharing her story and her side and perspective of dating Landon before Landon met the Wizard Liz. And we found out on our last show that essentially the timelines merged, where essentially Landon was in the process of stalking Abby when he actually met the Wizard Liz, and the transition was just like from one to the other. And so it's gotten very juicy and very interesting. But we also see a lot of aftermath spilling after this whole revelation. So right now we have this amazing creator, Jenny, is going to explain to us how Landon has now since defended himself on the situation and basically spoke against what Abby has said about him.
Posted on his Instagram story defending himself with receipts that Abby did have SDs and was cheating on him, and why he was in Ibiza and not stalking her.
SDs, for those of you who are unfamiliar, is sugar daddies. Okay.
He said, I would rather be entirely focused on becoming the best man, father, partner, founder right now and healing the pain I've caused. Unfortunate to have to post more receipts to defend myself against false claims. Also, anyone hating Sab and Liz for defending me should go touch grass. Then he includes a text thread with his mom talking about Abby, where he tells her, a little update for you. Abby did exactly what I thought she would. She told me she loved me and wanted me to come to Ibiza. She was trying to be sweet, but shut down again today. I feel like I now have all the closure I need to move forward into the next chapter of my life. She told me to come to Ibiza on Thursday, so I somewhat desperately booked the trip. Then she found some way to create drama because I told her I had a couple more groups of friends out there. She accused me of going to see some B-word out there, then said she was no longer wanting to see me. My buddy out there is the one who introduced me to Andy Beal. He told me he'd love for me to come about 2 weeks ago, so when I told him about the Abby situation, he said get the hell out of that toxic situation and come stay with him. Looks like I'm taking a last-minute trip to Ibiza for the rest of the month, and if vibes are still high, I'll be in Mykonos August 1st to 7th with them as well. Strangely enough, I feel this is exactly what God had in store for me. And then he said, this person lied to me millions and millions. What is real will prosper and lawyers are handling the rest. Let me focus on my evolution now, please. And he texts his mom, I just saw her in Ibiza holding another guy's hand. That's crazy to me. His mom says, that's disgusting to me. He says, I agree. And then he includes in screenshots of
sorry, I was gonna say it still doesn't justify the fact that because of what Abby claimed that he said to her when he went up to her after seeing her, number one, and then number two, it's quite a coincidence that he would end up in the same place that she is, especially when Abby basically, long story short, in her expose of Landon was basically saying that, hey, I actually made the mistake of posting my location and where I'm at and what I'm doing. So quite interesting that that was, of all places, the place that he would choose to go.
Messages with Abby of her saying, I'm with married men and women, billionaires. That's why Sam wasn't invited. Some of us can't have a convo, some can't. I'm doing nothing wrong. Ha ha ha. And he knows that we all take screenshots and that he's gonna delete this later. I just don't understand how messages between Landon and his mom is proof. Because didn't Abby have like actual email receipts between her and Landon? And this is just Landon and his mom. Landon just posted on his Instagram story defending.
So, okay, I guess that's his defense, is that he wasn't actually going there to Ibiza for Abby. He was going there for this whole, honestly, the way that the way that the situation was even explained, it didn't even really make sense to me. But long story short, I guess that's the where Landon's coming from. His screenshots were just screenshots to, I guess, his mom. I don't know. First of all, what is this? Is this iMessage? Why does it look like that? Why is he messaging his parents on WhatsApp? His parents don't have regular text message. Anyways, just something as an update of what's going on. I don't want to go too deep into that, but that's kind of the situation there with them. Now, we kind of have I wanted to show you guys a little bit of an update on how people are reacting and responding to this situation, because I do think it's quite interesting what people are now saying about the Wizard Liz and the drama that's going on with her. So we'll start with this.
Okay, I'm going to do something brave and I'm going to criticize the Wizard Liz. And I say it's brave because the Wizard Liz's fan base likes to tussle, okay? They're like Beyonce's fan base. But this is where she officially lost me. Another one of Landon's exes, this girl whose name is Abby, went on here and basically was like, oh, the same thing happened to me. He was abusive. He was physically abusive. He was verbally abusive. He was a manipulator. He, gaslit me. He cheated on me, etc., etc. There's clearly a theme with this man. She provided receipts, and all the things that he was saying in these receipts sound exactly like him. And I really don't think she had bad intentions. Like, her hands were shaking while she was talking about it. I think she really was just like trying to corroborate Liz's story. Landon goes on his story and flips the fuck out and is basically like, I'm gonna defend myself. I'm tired. Like, he's so good at weaponizing therapy speech and like spiritual speech. It is like such an indicator, like a hallmark trait of someone who is a manipulator. I don't know how she didn't see how this man is a manipulator. And I know that sounds like I'm victim blaming, but that's what this girl's whole thing is like standing up for yourself and not being male-centered and da-da-da-da, knowing your worth, da-da-da. I don't know how she didn't see this guy was a manipulator. And from what I understand, she was in a relationship right before him and then jumped into a relationship with him. So she's like jumping from relationship to relationship, whatever. Landon is threatening to sue this Abby girl, da-da-da. None of that is surprising. Who knows what's gonna happen? This is where she lost me. She creates the story where she's basically being like, none of that ever happened. I don't know who this girl is. I don't know why she's still like, messing with Landon. I'm just wanting to make sure that Landon's okay and that, he's still the father of my child, and I want to make sure that he doesn't hurt himself. So clearly he's threatening to hurt himself, or like telling her that he's going to hurt himself, which he's not going to. You're still falling for the manipulation tactics. And to me, this just comes off as like she's defending him, which if I were in her situation, I would not be defending him. Anything that happens to him from this point forward, he brought upon himself. And this is the part where she really lost me, because Landon in his stories was like, oh, this girl had an SD, da-da-da, she cheated on me, which I don't feel like he provided substantial enough evidence to prove that, but whatever. And she was like, well, you were the one who had an SD and you're the one who cheated on him, da-da-da. Girl, why are you defending the man in this situation? This is not coming off as very girl's girl to me at all. At all. And she finishes with saying, cheaters should date cheaters, period. Leave other people out of your mess. She deleted these last two stories. I saw them when they were 2 minutes fresh because I'm insane, and I saved
I think it's a little bit okay, I'm not gonna hate on the Wizard List because I know she's definitely going through some things, but I definitely think obviously that was a misstep in the way that she reacted and responded to that. And then I'm not sure if, chat, you can tell me what you think. She then afterwards posted, it was on her Instagram, essentially that she's gifting away $50,000 of her own money to single moms. That was after this. So I don't know if it was because of guilt or she just felt like she was losing people. And I get it. Like, it's just a very confusing time for her and the whole situation she's going through. But I definitely think like she took a misstep there in the way that she approached someone else who clearly has a situation with Landon, or had a situation with Landon. And I actually want us to watch together this clip that I saw that I think, you tell me, chat, if you think this clip encapsulates what might be happening or why the Wizard Liz may have responded that way. So we'll watch this clip together.
Wizard Liz is
and then we'll discuss after.
narcissist, and she's treating you the same way that a narcissist would treat their partner. Narcissists believe,
Quite a bold statement. Let's see.
deep down, they are not subject to the same rules as everyone else. Landon, very clearly, is also a narcissist. And the funny thing is, narcissists, especially covert narcissists, tend to attract one another. Narcissists love when other people validate their own sense of grandiosity, so they're very easy to love bomb. And the funny thing is, when you're a covert narcissist, you're good at love bombing. So what happened was, Landon came in, love bombed the Wizard Liz, and she thought, as he should, of course he would do this for me. I'm special. I'm different. Then Abby comes out and says he did the same thing to her. He stalked her, love bombed her, gave her some of the same gifts, like writing a book for her, hundreds of flowers, etc. This forces Liz to confront a very brutal truth. She is not special according to him, and she's not special in her own advice. She gave you advice because she thought she was better than you. She puts down Abby because Abby was a different girl. She's blah, blah, blah. Don't drag me into this. Narcissists demand undivided loyalty regardless of their behavior. So when her audience, like you, try to correct her behavior and tell her, hey, maybe you shouldn't be treating another victim this way, she turns on you too. And what you're going to see over the next few days is increasingly volatile lash outs against her community and against other potential victims that may come forward. My prediction is that she's going to take Landon back because in her mind, she's better than you, so she can handle a narcissist. She knows how to train him and teach him. It's a battle of wills now. The Wizard...
Okay, I wouldn't go that far. I think he went a little bit extreme in saying that like she's gonna lash out against her audience and it's gonna be like a death spiral. I don't think it's gonna go that far. But what I will say is I do think there's definitely an element of shock realizing we all kind of have the belief that we are the main character in not only our story, but it kind of projects out into other people's story where we think like, hey, everyone sees us as the main character as well. So I definitely think that like in her having the moment of like, oh my gosh, Landon did this to me and he treated me like this and he treated me like that. It also can speak to your own feeling of being a main character. And then when someone else comes out, especially the way that Abby came out and was basically saying that like, not only did he do the same thing to me that he did to you, but he actually did mine 10 times worse. And he was stalking me. In fact, he basically was stalking me on the way to finding you. It is a little bit of an ego hit, and I'm not accusing the Wizard Liz of being a narcissist, but I do think, we all have ego, and it is a little bit of a hit when you realize that the guy that you've been talking up, the guy that you love so much, the guy that you've been saying, this is my husband, and this whole situation happened with me and him, to find out that way that like his real obsession is this Abby girl, or at least was this Abby girl before he became invested in you, kind of is a little bit of a, it's a little bit of a hit to the ego. Chat, let me know if I'm on track here. And I think that kind of realization is what led her to make the stories before about basically saying, hey, whatever you guys think about Abby, we don't know that. She might have had sugar daddies. She might have been doing this. She might have been doing that, right? Because it kind of burst the bubble of, oh my gosh, like I thought this guy was super obsessed with me and like super into me, to find out that he was super obsessed with another girl right before being with me, and maybe in an alternate universe would have rather been with her before he was with me. It hurts. Obviously, it's not an easy pill to swallow. So I definitely think that's an interesting take there. Okay, let's see what this creator had to respond in her situation. Oh, why is this always look at how it's trying to mess me up here. Okay, All right, let's see what she has
It
to
would
say.
be nice if one of the things that came out of this whole situation with the wizard Liz being cheated on is the death of the whole high value woman concept. And I just have so many problems with this type of content and what it's teaching women. And I think that it's responsible for some of the problems between men and women. But even worse, I feel that it puts pressure on women to behave in certain ways that may not be healthy or even in their best interest. One example of this is if I'm on a date with someone and there is absolutely no vibe, there are times where I have split the bill. And I do
She's losing me here. Let's see if she lands the plane.
think that in early dating, the woman shouldn't pick up the tab. But if there is no chemistry at all, I kind of feel bad sometimes. And all of this stuff about how women should be getting princess treatment and the sprinkle stuff is so obviously toxic internet brain rot. And saying this doesn't make me a pick-me. If you think any wealthy man who is worth his weight would ever be with a woman who says sprinkle, you need a reality check. A lot of the women.
Okay, that is not untrue. Okay, the extremeness of it is definitely not going to help your dating life. I'll agree with that.
Giving this kind of advice are SW. And I just want to remind you that SW isn't the oldest profession in the world, as some people say. It's actually the oldest form of slavery. I'm not saying that Liz is that. I don't know her situation. But the people who make this kind of content where they're trying to get women to behave like SW in dating situations, women who do this and engage like this with men are doing so to their own detriment. And that is why Liz ended up with the man she ended up with. I mean, look at him. He's not in his masculine. He's simpy. He followed her at the airport while she was in a mask. All of this stuff is so unhinged and toxic. And then he cheats on her on Snapchat. I didn't know anyone above the age of 17 used Snapchat. I didn't even know it was still around. All of these women telling you to get an SD style guy who buys you whatever you want, whenever you want, who is your golden retriever #1 fanboy, are selling you a lie. They are selling you a one-way ticket to misery. And it's high time that women wake up to this reality and realize this is the yin to the red pill yang. There's another video of her where she's interacting with a very handsome masculine guy and she's actually in her feminine energy. And it's so different from the video that she put out with her fiance because her fiance is clearly a beta simp. Have you noticed that so many of these high-value women, feminine energy, dark feminine energy coaches are married to undesirable men? That's not a coincidence. This whole thing is not a coincidence. Women are being coached on here to behave in ways that are to their own detriment. And sometimes I wonder if this doesn't have something to do with female intersectional competition. You guys need to wise up. This is the age of Aquarius. There are no more gurus. Look at what just happened with Aubrey Marcus, another perfect example. Maybe I'll make another video.
I actually think what she's discussing is an interesting concept because I talk about it that when you're approaching guys, nothing against some of the other creators that preach something different than me. I could be wrong. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But as a guy, I just, I have an understanding that certain approaches won't really work with guys. And if energy goes where energy flows. So if you're hyper fixated on a man's money, you will attract a very transactional relationship. Now, to an extent, all relationships, platonic and romantic, will be transactional, but the focus of your relationship when you're focused on finances and money will be finances and money. So in exchange for his money, he will also have an expectation of you and what you're supposed to do for him for that money. And then your relationship will just become about money. You give me money or spend money on me, and then in return, I do whatever it is that you want so badly. Now, some of you might be like, oh my God, that sounds like a dream scenario, dream relationship to me. But I know that some of you also want the actual relationship, like the love side, like the person cares about you side, like the person wants the best for you side, like they want to emotionally support you and they're there for you side as well of the relationship. But like I said, energy goes where energy flows. So as you become hyper fixated on the financial aspect of the relationship, like in him, the exchange of money to you in your hands, then that becomes the place that your relationship takes the most emphasis on and the most focus in. Whereas I think that the best approach, even with wealthy men, especially with wealthy men or rich men, men with money, is to not talk about money or finances at all. Because if you get good at recognizing the men who have money, obviously that doesn't need to be a point of conversation when you can already recognize he has money. Then when you stop talking about money, you finally become someone in their life who is doing the opposite of what everyone else is doing. Because what do you think most other people will want to focus on when they meet a rich or wealthy man? Talking about his money. What do you think he hears all the time? Conversation about his money. That's the last thing a rich or wealthy man wants to hear or discuss, to be honest with you. Let's hop into this video, and I think this is very interesting, okay? So this clip is a clip from, it's, I don't know if the Wizard Liz posted it on her Instagram or her TikTok or where she posted it, to be honest. But I watched this clip. I hope this is the right clip. And it's them going shopping. Let's just watch together and then we'll discuss.
We're shopping today. We're doing it.
Me and Landon are shopping in Gucci right now. He said I can get whatever I want. I don't like when the logo is like filled. Look guys, this is the jacket that I like.
No, higher.
It's cute. Tokyo is very, very beautiful.
So I have, okay, I be overanalyzing, chat,
like
so don't mind me. But
I can get whatever I want.
Listen, I read into a lot of things. So this was posted somewhere. I don't know where it was posted, okay? Seems like a harmless clip, but I always look into like what people say and why they're saying it. There's a reason for everything, chat. Why? This is the question I ask myself. When the Wizard Liz posted this video, I'm just asking a question. Don't accuse me of nothing, okay? I'm not accusing her of anything either.
Gucci right now.
Why did she say this?
He said I can get whatever I want. I don't like when the logo
It's very subtle, so some of you might not pick up on it, right?
is like filled. Gucci right now. He said I can get whatever I want.
Sometimes when you're in a place mentally, subconsciously you say things that show what place you're in mentally without necessarily purposely trying to show that to people, right? This is why it's so important to listen to how people are talking, to understand their thought process. So I asked myself when I seen this video, right? And I'm not accusing the Wizard Liz of anything. I asked myself, why would she say that way? And what is the purpose of this video? Because some people on the surface might just watch it, be like, oh, we love Liz. She's just, she's out shopping with her man and things like that. But then I also ask myself, what does this actually say about how she's thinking or what's on her mind, right? Why would she say,
shopping in
I'm out at Gucci, we're shopping, and Landon said while I'm at Gucci that I can get whatever I want? Who is that for? Who is that speaking to? And what is that supposed to be saying? I'll just leave those questions there because those are things that I think about when I think about, where is this person's mindset? What is their focus? How is their brain processing the information or the situation?
Gucci right now. He said I can get whatever I want. I don't like when the logo is like filled. Look guys, this is the jacket that I like.
No, higher.
It's cute. Tokyo is very, very beautiful. We are now on the way to the big square or something. I don't know what
It's
he
the
said,
Shibuya crossing.
but-
It's like the most famous.
You guys like that?
We're so exhausted.
Yeah. So it's just something that I think about, because when I see things like that, it just makes me cause to pause, you know. And like I said, I'm not accusing her of anything. Someone said, tell us what that means. Well, you're gonna have to understand with me, I'm gonna force you to put the dots together, and I'm gonna ask you, what do you think that means? When she goes to the Gucci store and she's posting a video talking about, hey, we are here shopping and Landon just said I can get whatever I want. Who is that for? Why is she saying that? And why is she saying that way? Ask yourself that question. And if you guys are wondering how to put the dots together, ask yourself that question in the context of what she said. And then we can maybe suffice what that might mean. Okay, let's hop into our next segment. Okay, so that's enough of the Wizard Liz. I had a couple of videos that I wanted to watch with all of you because they were submitted to me, and these were long story times, and they were all tragic. I think story time is going to be our next little thing here, like TikTok story times, because I have not watched these, but these have a lot of likes and comments, and so we just might have to buckle up. Some of these TikTok story times be absolutely insane. Okay, so this one comes from Rose Loves You. She's talking about a story time on a famous rapper who tried to ruin my life and get me fired from my job. So okay, we'll see how this goes, and if there's anything we can take or learn from this, because there must be a lot. There's 14,000 comments on this post. This is insane.
No longer work at my old job. I want to do a story time on a very famous rapper who tried to ruin my career and ruin my life. I worked at a department store, men's designer specifically, and I was commission based. I was working one day when a man approached me asking for help picking out a jacket for his music video. He was very nice. We ended up picking him a green Bottega jacket, most beautiful jacket I've ever seen. It was about $6,000. He bought it. He left. My coworker came up to me and was like, do you know who that is? I said, no. They showed me his Instagram, and I ended up following him. He had a lot of followers. I'm like, this is going to be cool. He's shooting a music video on this. I would love to see that. It's great. So he ends up shooting the video. The jacket looked amazing. The video was cool, good song, good energy. Yeah, awesome. Well, not awesome. A week later, I see him walk in with his girlfriend, baby mama now. She was starring in a very big, well-known Disney movie at the time, so she was very popular at this time. Well.
Wait a second. Is she talking about who I think she's talking about? Chat, do you know who she's talking about? Okay. I have an idea in my head who she might be talking about. Maybe that's not who she's talking about though. Let's see.
Well, they wanted to return the jacket. I had to tell them, no, you cannot do that. It was not fun. We ended up going back and forth over this, and I had to tell him 3 reasons I could not return this jacket. The first reason was it was smelling like cologne. Very strong cologne scent. The second reason, it smelled a lot like smoke, and neither of these reasons were good enough for either of them. They were going back and forth. I told them that it's worn. The third reason, it was worn. He looked at me and he said, you cannot prove that. And I said, actually I can. And I pulled out my phone, pulled out the video, and I said, this you? He was speechless. He was speechless, and his girlfriend did not like that. She said, this is extremely unprofessional. This is something that you do to all of your clients, like just very, very livid. And I explained to her, you guys are public figures, very well known. He told me he was shooting a music video. This is a public video posted on YouTube. Yes, I saw it. Yes, I pulled it up because I am commission based. I know it was worn. I cannot take back this jacket. It is a $6,000 jacket. It is against our return policy. I am not able to accept this. I could get in trouble. I'm very sorry. Explained it to her many times, explained it to him. It was just getting very heated. It created a scene. 3 of my coworkers started coming, trying to defend me. It was not going down. It was getting worse and worse. My manager stepped in, helping me, and I actually said, I'm going to remove myself. I did not feel comfortable anymore. It was not heading into any direction that I wanted to be a part of. So my assistant manager stood there and I told him I'm going to remove myself. If my assistant manager would like to return this, he is absolutely welcome to. I personally cannot take back this return because I can get in trouble. It is a very expensive jacket. It's worn. It smells worn. I can't. I am so sorry, but this is policy. They ended up leaving. My manager said no, he had my back. They went to different departments, tried to return it. It was denied all over the store. They ended up winning. It sucks, but they went to a different location and returned it. It's fine. I expected it to be returned, just not by me. I didn't care because I did not want to get in trouble. I did not want to take the heat for that. It's a big no-no to return designer stuff. I guess that wasn't enough for him because he took to his social media to post the receipt of this jacket. And with the receipt, he wrote a very crazy message. With this receipt, it showed my first name, the first initial of my last name, where I worked, the address of where I worked in the department. And in that photo, he said my first name, all of that information, and said I was racist and I called him the N-word with a hard R. I did not do this.
What?
I had 3 coworkers there,
What?
2 of which were black, my assistant manager, and if I had done this, I would have been immediately fired. I worked a year after that. The store manager ended up apologizing to me for what he put me through. It created a month of harassment. 1 month of his fan base, to his millions of followers, going to social media, to Yelp, to Instagram, to TikTok, calling me racist. They started showing up at the store in groups looking for me. It was very scary.
Chat, do you know which rapper this is? Who is it that she's talking about? I want to make sure we're all on the same page.
They started calling the phones, and if I answered, I was being cussed at, yelled at, threatened. I had to be walked to my car when I left because like the groups would be kicked out and they'd still be waiting. They found my social media, and it did not die down for a month and maybe over a month. It was very damaging, and I thought it was insane behavior because you are abusing your platform to try and ruin somebody's life who is just doing their job. I thought that was the craziest, most erratic thing in the entire world. It turns out that they ended up doing this to somebody else. The girlfriend's sister and him, the rapper, ended up going to a nail salon and doing something very similar and calling this lady racist, but she ended up telling her side of the story, and they were called out for it very publicly. I can't get over this because they came in with an AP watch, Disney money, fighting me, wanting to return a jacket. I am just doing my job. I cannot take this jacket back. Like, it's my job, and you're trying to ruin my life and say very damaging, real accusations for what? Over a jacket? You ended up winning. Like, why are you trying to ruin my life, my career? Like, that's sick behavior. That is crazy, and I think it's crazy that he has such a big platform to this day that he's able to do that, and that they will probably do this again. Yeah, so that was a fun time in my life. I'm fine. Working in a department store.
Yeah, chat, if you've ever met someone who's like really famous, you'll know that one of the unfortunate parts of actually meeting someone who's really famous is that you'll realize how entitled they are because they're famous. And it's kind of an effect of, it's going to sound weird, but oops, what the hell's going on? It's kind of an effect of when you get people telling you for so long how amazing you are, how like you literally can walk on water, how there's nothing else better than you, like constantly, like every day, because that's your inner circle. It's very difficult to like interact in the real world with people who don't see you that same way. It's kind of the when people ask me, like sometimes I'll have people send me in messages and they'll be like, oh, I'm dating this guy and he's a rapper or he's a musician. And the first thing I'll say is like, do you really understand the lifestyle of a rapper or a musician? Like if his goal is to be a successful musician or a successful rapper, what is he going to be doing? Touring all over the world, right? Having people sing his songs, going to clubs, and strip clubs, regular clubs, singing his songs to people, and with alcohol and drugs around, and all these people telling him how amazing he is for the songs that he makes, and after parties with lots of women. So that's not really conducive to a healthy long-term relationship. I'm not saying that there's been no successful rappers in it, but it's very hard to be like at the top of your game and then be in a successful relationship, because there's a lot of ego that comes with that, constantly hearing how amazing you are all the time, and it almost like warps your perception of the world. Very, very strange how that works. Okay. Let's hop into this. This next one I know is definitely okay. This one is definitely on the who the F did I marry spectrum. So I know the last one wasn't as relationship related, more life related, but this one from the title alone is crazy. Okay. I haven't even been able to watch the whole story. But she's going to describe essentially dating or going on a date with what ended up being a serial unaliver. I don't even know how that's possible, but let's get into it.
I'm pretty sure I went on a date with a serial killer. Let's get into it. And before I get into it, I just want to say there's going to be a lot of points in this story where you are literally going to kind of like palm yourself in the forehead and be like, what were you thinking, Tiffany? I know, I was dumb. I was also 21. We met out at a bar and had a really, really great conversation that night. And so exchanged numbers. We went on a first date and it was awesome. He picked me up in this super nice sports car, which this should have been my red flag because he literally didn't know how to open the door. First date went.
He didn't know how to open the door of his own. Okay.
Well, and then
maybe it's a super super duper foreign. The doors lift up. It's hard to okay.
And we were trying to plan our second date. I was in dead week at school, so it was the week before finals and had to be studying a lot, which slowed down our timeline. While I was studying one night, it was probably 10 p.m. We were chatting about how it was going. He was asking me if, he could bring me any food or anything, and I told him that I could just really go for a walk at 10 p.m. So he gets super excited and he's like, yeah, let's go on a walk.
Wait. First date? You guys are going for a walk at 10 p.m. First date? Or is this at, okay.
And where do we go? The gas works. So he says, hey, I need to get gas. I'll be there in like 30 minutes or something.
Second date.
Like that. So I am getting ready. I tell obviously my roommates and my friends to watch my location because that's supposed to save me somehow. And literally an hour and a half goes by. I hear nothing from him. So then he finally texts me that he's there, and I had him pick me up at the apartment next door. In any case, he shows up in a...
Okay, so this is one of my questions. If you're so like paranoid that you're like, okay, girls, you need to have my location and I want the guy to pick me up at the apartment next door, then why go for a walk in private at nighttime with him alone? Like, if your spidey senses are saying, hey, you don't know him enough to just be alone with him in a dark pathway or walkway, then you probably should just say, you know what, I'm better off dating him during the day where everyone else can see us. If I don't feel comfortable going on this date to the point where he's got to pick me up in a different place, I don't want him to know where I live. Like, okay.
A really beat up 4Runner. And I don't care that it was a beat up car. It was just a really big switch from what he was driving on our first date. Immediately upon me getting in the car, he's already
so now he's got a different car.
Explaining away why he has this dirty beat up car. And he's like, oh, I have dogs and I just want them to ride, in this car and not my nice car and like ruin the seats and stuff. And I was like, okay. So we go to Gasworks. He cracks a joke about if this were Dexter, it would be the perfect spot to murder me.
This is going to I can already tell this story is going to get me mad. This story is going to get me mad. If you ever go on a date and a guy makes a joke, I don't care what type of joke it is. I don't care what type of dark humor you're into. If you go on your first couple of dates with a guy, like especially like the first 3, and he makes a joke about unaliving you, the date is done. And I actually don't even want you to say the date is done. I want you to literally just, oh, oh, the pee is slipping out of me right now. Oh my God, I'm going to piss myself right now in this second. I have to go to the bathroom right now in this second. Please excuse me as I go to the bath. Oh, I actually need my jacket as well because the pee is coming out. I'm going to be there for a while. I need my phone and everything. Okay. And then you get out of there. Don't even say that you're leaving because that's insane.
He also gets out of the car and goes, "Don't make fun of me." And I'm like, okay. He's like, "Well, I was so excited to see you that I'm wearing 2 different shoes." Now my...
The same man that he had a sports car at the beginning is now wearing 2 different shoes. She didn't even talk about like, what does he do? Because that would have been one of the first questions she should ask if she sees the guy with the sports car, right? Okay. I don't want to get upset. Okay.
Spidey senses are kind of tingling. And as we start to go on this walk, I make it a point to say that my friends have my location. I also kind of lied and said my dad was a cop. And he got really weird. He was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." And then when I told him about the location thing, he's like, "Well, how accurate is it?" And I was like, "It's really accurate." And I showed him. He goes, oh, okay. And we're walking around. If you've been to Gasworks Park, there's one side that's like on the water kind of, and then there's this whole like dark...
Okay. I actually understand like why she's doing the way that she's doing it, like going about it. But then my question becomes like, if you're that paranoid of the guy you're literally with, okay, I don't want to get frustrated.
Side of the moon moment around the back of Gasworks Hill. We're walking around this hill, right? And so we're in the dark spot, and I'm just kind of like, I don't like this. This feels really weird. We get towards...
But what did you think was going to happen when you go for a walk at night, though? I'm confused. And why couldn't you do the same thing, but like in a car? Because I guess essentially like you're going and you're walking at night, but then you're just having a chat. But why couldn't you do that same thing in a car if you really wanted to just have a chat? Okay, this kind of stuff makes me mad.
The water finally, and he's also at this point made multiple jokes about murdering me, and I'm like, this isn't funny, especially for the second time we're hanging out. Get back to the front of...
She's too casual. This is the problem. Her personality is very casual, very happy-go-lucky. Even the way she's described, like I feel like she wasn't even angry enough in the moment because the way she's describing it is very like, he was making jokes about unaliving me, and I was just like, come on, buddy, this is the second date. You can't be making those type of jokes. What? Like, no, because usually when you've been through a traumatic situation, like the anger like seeps through your pores. She's not even angry enough for me. I don't like this.
The hill, and there are some of the fire dancers are out there, and so I'm like, oh, like let's look at the water, and I'm also plotting how I can say I need to go back home. He tries to kind of make a move to walk around the mountain again. I was like, we have already walked that, I'm good. And he goes, oh, you're very aware of your surroundings.
Where does she meet this guy?
Okay, now the next part, this might be a moment where you're like, Tiffany, what were you doing? Asks if we can sit on the rocks that are against the water. And if you've been to Gasworks Parks, to get to the rocks, you kind of are away from civilization. Like you're not really able to be seen if you're sitting on the rocks. I said yes. So we're sitting on these rocks. And I will say I did make sure that I was sitting on the one closest to the railing so that if I
want to picture this properly, what she just said.
I said yes. On the rocks that are against the water. And if you've been to Gasworks Parks, to get to the rocks, you kind of are away from civilization. Like you're not really able to be seen if you're sitting on the rocks.
So some secluded rocks right next to water that she could easily be pushed in or drowned in or disposed of in. She's sitting right there, away from everything, secluded, dark. This is like romance made in heaven.
I said yes.
Because you're about to be in heaven.
So we're sitting on these rocks, and I will say I did make sure that I was sitting on the one closest to the railing so that if I needed to run or anything.
Oh yeah, that's that. Okay, yeah, you take care of all your safety precautions. Sit by the one next to the railing, because that's gonna take care of everything. You'll be perfectly fine as long as you're by the railing. That's okay. Yeah, I'm with you. That's how you take care of that. Yeah.
I think I could. He makes another joke about killing me.
So this is joke number 3 of unaliving you. The railings got you though, right? Okay.
I really, at that point, like started really feeling easy, right? And I was texting my friends to see if they could come get me. And as I'm looking over at my phone, and I, out of the corner of my eye, see him kind of fiddling with something in his pocket, and it just made my stomach sink. I immediately popped up, right? And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm ready to go home. And he goes, so soon? I'm like, yeah, I need to study, you know, trying to placate him. And he's like, well, I just didn't think you wanted to leave this soon. And I was like, yeah, I do. We walk out to the parking lot, and I'm trying to figure out a way to tell him that I'm not going to get in his car. I had left my purse in his car, so I knew I at least had to open the passenger door. And he...
Oh my God. At that point, just leave the purse. Just F it. Like, if you were literally feeling like the guy was like 10 seconds away from unaliving you, like, forget the purse. Like, just leave.
Is very angry, opens up his driver's side door, turns on his car, and is like looking at me expectantly. I open up the passenger side door, and as I reach in to grab my purse, tell me why the gas gauge was empty. The reason that he was late was because he needed to get gas. So tell me why the gas gauge was empty. You know that scene in Get Out where she says sink and it's like, ooh, that's how I felt. So I literally looked around, like I backed up and I started looking around to see if there was anybody there that could potentially help me. And there was this couple that was sitting in a car next to us. So I turned to them and I knocked on their window and I said, I don't feel safe. Can I wait with you until a ride gets here? They obviously said yes. The guy literally peeled out and sped off after I did that. I never saw or heard from him again. I blocked his number, and then I was terrified for weeks that he was going to show up at my apartment and try to murder me. In college, I'm pretty sure...
No, so he was definitely trying to unalive you. There's no question. Because here's the other part of the story why I actually do think that he was trying to unalive you. Because regularly, so this is the logic train that most people will go through. When you're talking to someone and you can tell that they're uncomfortable, especially if you're on like a first or second or even third date, most guys, if they were getting the sense that you as a woman were really uncomfortable and you were acting in a way that looked like you were really uncomfortable, they would say, hey, is there something wrong? You look really uncomfortable, or you look really worried, or you look really just like jumpy or jittery. Then you might respond, oh, no, it's this or it's that or whatever the case may be. But like that would be addressed, because most guys, if their intention is not to make you feel uncomfortable, then they would actually address the fact that you look uncomfortable. So the reason I actually believe that that was the case in her story, that he was actually trying to do some unaliving, is because she never once mentioned him addressing the fact that she's uncomfortable. All she talked about basically, right? Maybe she was leaving it out, but all she talked about was essentially him acting weird and trying to lead them in the next direction and the next direction, but never addressing the fact that she's clearly uncomfortable and why she's uncomfortable. And even in the end of her story here, she talked about like he didn't even really like address the fact that she wants to like go home not with him, like wait for a ride, and why she might be doing that, or what she might have felt was weird that happened that is the reason she's doing that. So all of that speaks to me like clearly he had his own plan, which is why he doesn't care about whether she's uncomfortable or not, because he had his own thing going on. This type of stuff is just like, oh my God. It just it grinds my gears, because it's the same reason why I say, you know, on your first couple of dates, one, don't let the guy, like you're meeting strangers, right? And you can't be letting guys, you know, be able to just pick you up on the first couple of dates. Like I know him picking you up feels good, but like get used to a guy, meet him in a mutual place for the first couple of dates, get an understanding of his vibe, because your intuition will also tell you the guys who you're safe with versus the guys who are like a little bit sketchy, right? And those first couple of dates you should use as a feeler to kind of just see, oh, is he giving me those kind of weird vibes? Is there a lot of stuff that's not making sense about him? I also think, it's going to sound weird, I also think it's a good practice to research the guys that you're dating. So like look up his Instagram, look up his LinkedIn, look up his Facebook. You can pretend like when you get on the date, like, oh my God, I've never seen your Instagram before. Oh my God, I've never seen your LinkedIn before. I didn't even know where you work, right? But it's good. It's a good practice for you as a woman to have that information readily available. Just also so that if he, let's say, for example, you meet a guy on a dating app and you find his LinkedIn. Then when you see his LinkedIn, you see where he works and how long he's worked there for. Then when you go on your date with him, you can have your same casual conversation with him about like where he works and what he does for his career. But then you have the information of the LinkedIn. And then if he starts telling you something totally different than what's on his LinkedIn, now you can be like, wait a second. Why are you telling me something totally different than what's on your LinkedIn profile? It says you work as a mechanical engineer at this and this company. You're telling me you two do something totally different in a totally different place, right? These are the type of things that will help get your spidey senses tingling, to know that you definitely, this is not a guy that you're safe with. You might have to do some more digging, or take your time in terms of dating that guy, right? So those are all good ways to be safe. I can't believe she even allowed herself to be on that date there. Okay. Let's hop into our next story time. Okay. We have another one here that was submitted. Where did it go? Okay. It's this one. So I honestly have no idea what this is about. There was no intro to this, so I couldn't even understand what this story has to do with. I know it has to do with cheating because there's hashtag cheating in the caption. So for those of you who have triggered by cheating, I think this might have something to do with cheating or some sort of discovery. But let's look into Kalissa's story time, and we'll get a sense of like what actually transpired in her relationship, and I believe with her husband, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, let's see.
I'm trying to sit here and get ready and act like my life is normal, but my life is not normal. I went to Houston this weekend to watch 2 of my cousins graduate, and little backstory, I've been engaged for 2 months. I invited my fiance to come on this trip, and he decided he was going to go visit his cousin in Arkansas. So I go to Houston, do my trip with my family. He goes to Arkansas, does his trip with his family. Well, he comes home on Monday, and I'm coming home Tuesday. Well, on Monday, he disappeared for a few hours while he's driving home, and then he calls me later, and he's like, hey, did you know there's this huge lake right out in Oklahoma City? And so I stopped and put the boat in for a few hours and enjoyed myself. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, that's kind of weird, but whatever. Just kind of shrugged it off, but it just kept, something in the back of my head just kept telling me something was up. Trust your gut, ladies, because he came home, he was all over me, acting extra sweet, extra nice, which isn't out of character for him, but it was just too much, like more than anything I've ever noticed. And then Friday rolls around, he says he needs to run up to AutoZone, and I'm like, okay, go ahead, do your thing. I'm at home, and I just have this weird feeling that I need to check his iWatch because it was there. He took his iPhone, left his watch at home, so I start scrolling through his messages, and I find out that he met some random blonde at a Starbucks in Oklahoma City, got her number, didn't tell her about me at all, and literally went and took her out on his boat and disappeared for hours. So while I'm in Houston, literally trying on and buying my wedding dress to marry this man, he is out on a boat with some blonde bitch from Starbucks in Oklahoma City that was driving through.
Why did she say that? Like, why is she saying that like that? That's so aggressive. She's mad. I'm not laughing at her. She's just saying it so aggressive.
Yeah. And the backstory on this too is he was my high school sweetheart. We dated for years. We broke up, went our separate ways, both got married to different people. Ended up back together 2 years ago. It was a fairy tale story. I love telling everybody, oh, we were high school sweethearts. We just had a hard time. We had to figure life out, get back together. This man catered to me, treated me so well, poured my coffee every morning, took care of me, cleaned my car out, drove me everywhere, spoiled me to death. I mean, took care of me, and still chose to cheat on me. And I asked him, I said, I want to see your phone. And he went out to his car, got his phone and handed it to me. And I followed him because I didn't want him to like delete anything. Sure enough, all the messages were gone off his phone, every bit of it. But thank God for Apple technology, and it saved it on his watch, because I would be a dumb bitch staying with this man because I loved him and believed everything he ever told me. And now I've moved back into my house. I literally own my own home and moved into his house 2 months ago. I was getting ready to rent mine out. And now my house is destroyed. Like, look at this. My son's room. My son doesn't even know. Thankfully, he's in Lubbock with his dad. But look at my house. Look at my house. Because I had to panic move out of his house because I trusted a man. Don't trust a man. Ever.
Okay, damn. Okay. I don't think we got to go that far, but I definitely think it's a cautionary tale. Oh man, these are the type of things. I'm going to make a note, chat, because I want to see if we can get her on the show to explain in more depth her situation and what she's been through, because this was posted 1 day ago. And whenever I hear things like this, I always know there's obviously more to the story. And to be high school sweethearts and then all of a sudden, this guy is taking some random girl out on a boat. I'm not blaming her at all or victim blaming her for being cheated on, but I just would like to know more information about their relationship in general and like some of the things that have transpired in their relationship. And like, did we just randomly get to this point today? Like, was there any signs or anything that had happened prior to that made you suspicious or made you feel like, maybe there is more going on? Because it's a little bit strange, the idea of him just randomly be like showing all the signs of a loyal, respectful, on his game man. And then all of a sudden, one day, it's just like he meets a blonde girl and he randomly chooses to, like, people don't make like jumps that big. So I'm wondering, like, was there anything that went on in their relationship that either was like a baby sign of this, or maybe she had dealt with a situation like this before with another woman, or was it literally just because I find it hard to believe that someone would have a pattern of being one way and then just jump randomly to another thing. Someone said it was random. He found an opportunity to enjoy himself for a couple of hours. Yeah, but even that in itself is a personality trait. Do you get what I'm saying? So that personality that would say, I just have the chance to enjoy myself. I see a girl out on a boat. I want to go out on the boat and enjoy myself. It takes a type of personality to be able to say, enjoying myself in this moment is the most important thing to me, even more important than respecting my partner or respecting my relationship. So the reason I'm saying that's a personality thing is because then that also means that same personality would show itself in different ways. It might not always be, I take a blonde girl from Starbucks on my boat, but it will show up in their relationship in other ways, that I prioritize my fun or being in the moment or what works for me right now above my relationships, my family members, my friendships, my whatever it is, right? So you have to understand, like, part of reading people is understanding how certain personalities will go about relationships, not just in a relationship, but in other areas of their life with that same approach. Does that make sense to all of you? You guys get what I'm saying? Okay. All right, chat. Time for us to hop into our last segment here, and our most crazy segment here. You guys know what time is coming. If you are unsure, just look at the chat because they'll know what time's coming. It is a special time. It is an amazing time, and it is a time where you're going to laugh and you're going to cry, okay? Chat, don't look at your clock. Don't look at your watch. Don't look at your phone. Don't look nowhere else in your entire home. If you don't know the time, I'm going to tell you the time. Loud or quiet, chat? Which one, loud or quiet? Should I do it loud or quiet? Discord time. Okay, I did it medium. It was medium. Okay, I was in between. All right, chat. All right, so for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm going to show you exactly what I mean here, okay? Discord time is where all the amazing members of our Players Club Discord community get an opportunity to ask me a question about their relationship or their situationship, and I answer it live on the show. Now, there are a few different ways for you all to submit your questions to me, and I'm going to explain them all to you right now. So the first way to submit your question to me is by going to the link in my bio if you're watching this on TikTok, or in my description if you're watching this on YouTube. Click where it says Players Club Discord, and then you'll be able to hop into our Discord, go into the Relationship Advice Forum, and then you can drop your question in there. This forum is a first come, first serve forum. Someone said, where's the YouTube chat? Is it not there? Should be on there. Okay. This forum is a first come, first serve forum where you all will be able to ask me a question. Now, I'm only one person, so I can only answer the questions one by one. Let me make sure the YouTube chat is there. Yeah, it should be there. Should be there. I can only answer the questions one by one, so it does take me a little bit of time to answer those questions. So just in case you're ever wondering why your question hasn't been answered, it's because there's a queue, okay? Now, if you don't want to wait so long to get your question answered, because obviously I have all of these to go to, and it's going to take me a while to get to yours if you ask it today, you can also ask me a question and get it answered quicker by going to what we describe as our Relationship Advice Premium Forum, which essentially the way that this works is you can ask your question to me in this forum, and it's like a skip the line pass where instead of you having to wait your turn in the queue of people, I read these out before I go into the free section. So the way that you do this and access this, the only way you're allowed to, you have to go to the link in my bio if you're watching on TikTok, or in my description you're watching on YouTube. Click where it says Premium Discord Relationship Advice. You donate to the show, and in your donation, you'll add in your Discord username and the title of your Discord question, and then I'll be able to see that that's you because I'll get a notification on my phone that that's you, that's your question, and then I'll know that you're supposed to be in here and you're keeping it fair for everyone because obviously you're getting to skip the line, so you don't want to be skipping the line and then other people are waiting and you didn't actually do what you're supposed to do to submit your question, okay? Now, the third way to submit your question is for those of you who want to get your question answered by me, but you don't want your information read out on the show. You can also submit a private question to me. This is our private hotline. It's available in the Discord. It's also available if you go to the link in my bio on TikTok or in my description on YouTube. Click where it says Private Relationship Advice. You can send in a private question to me, type out as many paragraphs and details you want, and then I respond with a voice message. You'll obviously know it's me because it's my same voice, okay? So you can get an answer and response or perspective that way, okay? Let's hop into our first question of the day here, which comes from, what's this username? Saya? Okay, we'll say it Saya. That's the way we'll say it. So Saya says, he's moving too fast. Hi, Tomisin. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you. I am 35. I recently met someone. Oh, let me pull my chatty. I almost forgot my glasses. You know, I need my glasses to read. These are my reading glasses chat. Okay. Saya says, I'm 35. Recently met someone who's 39 off of a dating app. Always the dating app. It would be my first time seriously dating after years of working on myself until I felt I could be a healthy partner to someone else. He checks all your boxes for like the things that I describe. Okay, all my boxes for an intentional guy. Plans out nights, dates in advance. Asks about when I'm free again and what I'm doing. If I'm seeing anyone else. Inconveniences himself to see me. He lives an hour away, pays for everything, and gives me unexpected gifts. First date, our vibe was very silly, even with all the flirting. Interesting. He held both of my hands with eye contact a lot. When he saw me startle the first time, he leaned for a kiss. He backed off. But before we parted, he went for it again, and I let him. I didn't like that. And almost stopped talking to him. But after he repeatedly reached out, I decided to chalk it up to maybe this is dating in 2025. He then left for a pre-planned trip for a week, during which we called/texted. One call, he said, when I come back, let's date, no questions asked. Okay, interesting way to say that. I played it off as, yeah, let's go on a date when you come back. Second date, reservations to a restaurant where he was, again, very affectionate, but I kept short telling him it was a restaurant I went with my family sometimes. Wait, what? Okay. We moved to his car where there was a lot of making out / groping. He kept trying to move his hands under my skirt, but I immediately stopped him when I said no. What? So, okay. I am a little bit, I'm trying to understand, how did you go from being uncomfortable with kissing him the first time to now all of a sudden you're groping and heavy petting and making out in the car now? How did we make that much of a jump in one date, like one date after? Just, okay. He also tried to move my hand towards his pants, but of course I didn't go for that. I like him a lot, and I think ours is the kind of relationship I would have wanted. Okay, would have, past tense. He's come correct on all our dates, but I remember you saying not to put too much weight on how much a guy spends on you because he might just have the financial leisure to burn 100%, right? That shouldn't be how you makes you feel about how he feels about you. Also, that you yourself wouldn't ask your dream girl to do anything too spicy too soon for fear of losing her. I'm attracted to him, but do you think him moving this fast is just how he is as a person, or that he doesn't think I'm worth the respect? So I would say, okay, you're not going to like my answer, but I would say that men, they get a sense of who they can try with certain things and not. So there could be a certain vibe that you're giving off on your dates that you are, the word I'll use is malleable, in the sense that, this is the best way I can explain it to you from a guy's perspective. You'll have women that are yes girls, fun girls, they'll do whatever for whatever, they don't ask any questions. Then you'll have girls who aren't necessarily fun girls, yes girls, but they are malleable, meaning that if I as a man know that I want something from her, I know initially when I try to get something from her, there will be some pushback. But in understanding and learning certain women, you'll realize that certain women can be persuaded to do what you want if you come the right way and you, what's the word I'm looking for? And you kind of like approach it in the right way and you give just the right amount of pressure, if that makes any sense. So men, it's a learned behavior over the course of time. They'll eventually start to learn the types of personalities that you can kind of apply pressure to, and then they'll crack because they're not necessarily fun girls say yes to everything. But like if you push enough, they are not good at setting a boundary, at actually saying, no, what I said was my boundary is actually my boundary. So now that you're applying some pressure, it's still going to be my boundary, whether you apply pressure or not. So the reason I'm saying all that is because through the time of dating you, what could have been happening is he's learning, oh, you're a malleable type of woman where you do have boundaries, but if I apply the right type of pressure, they soften over the course of time. And you're not good at being able to, like in the moment, stand up for yourself, that you will allow things to escalate to a point of no return. Some guys also understand that the key to getting what they want is not necessarily just outright asking for it, but by allowing things to escalate. And if you continue to not say anything or speak up for yourself, then they just continue to escalate, right? And I know it sounds horrible, but I'm just explaining to you, this is the way that guys go about things, and this is the learned behavior that they have, right? So what needs to happen is the problem with this situation, and part of the reason that this is happening is because he's learning over the course of time that you'll allow it to happen. Because I asked myself the same question, and I was asking you the same question. You went from that first date, him leaning into a kiss, and, you know, like kind of you seeming like you were uncomfortable with it, to now all of a sudden, second date, he's now kissing, making out with you and groping you in the parking lot. So you have to understand, he's also learning from you what you're allowing. You start off uncomfortable, but then slowly but surely you do what he wants. Then the next day it's like, okay, well, there were things I was uncomfortable before, but it seems like whenever he escalates, he gets to continue getting what he wants. And I'm not saying it's all your fault, but you have to start like whenever you set a boundary, if that's going to be your boundary, you have to start taking action on setting that boundary, right? You can't just talk a big game and then not actually set the boundary in the moment. The other thing that I want to advise you of in terms of just you're going to have to learn as a woman is you're going to have to start looking ahead of situations before they happen. So, for example, right, you have to ask yourself, if I put myself in this situation, what are the possible outcomes of this situation before I actually get into that moment? For example, when he says, oh, we're on the date and we finish the date, why don't we just go into the car and just sit and just chill and just talk? You have to be forward thinking. I know it's a lot of work, but I'm just going to be honest with you. You have to be forward thinking enough to think to yourself, if we go into this car right now alone, where is this car parked? Are we in a secluded area where no one can really see us? Are these windows tinted? If we're in a secluded area in the parking lot, these windows are tinted, and we're just going to sit there and have a chat, what are the possible outcomes of this chat that we're essentially in private now? Is he going to try and make a move on me? Do I want him to make a move on me? If the answer to that question is no, I'm uncomfortable with him making a move on me, then you have to be forward thinking enough to say, oh, I actually have somewhere to go, so I can't really stay too long, and I'm already calling my Uber, and whatever the case may be, right? And you essentially get yourself out of being in that position where you have so much pressure on you if you're someone who feels like it's hard for you to say no in the moment. But if that's the case for you, you have to be forward thinking enough to say, I can't put myself in certain positions if I know it's already difficult for me to properly set boundaries, okay? Because that's kind of my concern here, is that you're not very good at setting boundaries, which is him taking it as I can continue to escalate, right? Because he didn't just whip his pee out on the first date. But after a while of seeing, you'll allow certain things to happen and you won't say anything and he can continue seeing you and getting access to you. Then he's slowly upping the ante. Guys, that's like guys' MO. They know how to up the ante as they're seeing that the response is not, hey, this is a boundary. And they're like, okay, I'll continue to escalate and continue to escalate. So I don't think it's about him thinking that you're not wifey material. I think it's about him seeing that you don't know how to properly stand and respect on your own boundaries. So he's using that as a way to continue escalating to the point where he's just doing whatever he wants. And you're allowing that, right? So you want to fix that, then you have to actually set the boundary. And honestly, at this point, even if that means having an in-person conversation with him or a phone call conversation of how you want it to go or what you're not willing to do, I think that's better than not saying anything and continue to having this confusion. Now, if you do have a conversation with him about what your boundaries are now and you clarify that, then you actually need to stand on that. Because the worst thing you can do is talk about having boundaries and then not actually stand on that. Okay? So we need to kind of refocus what the boundaries are and then have a conversation with him about that. Doesn't have to be in a, I'm telling you this, this, and that. It can just be in a, hey, I'm letting you know like these certain things I don't want to happen and this is what it is for me. If that doesn't work for you, fine. If it works for you, fine. And then from there, you have to stand by that. You can't go back on that or allow that to just slide because you feel like you're having a good time with him. Okay? All right, let's hop into our next question here. Our next question comes from Princess. Okay, it's a different princess. We had a Princess 4D in 4D, and this is a different type of princess. Thank you. I don't comment because I'm also a creator on YouTube, and it's not the usual content I consume or create, but I love your work. It's really stimulating to hear a man's perspective on men, and I adore the encouragement you pour out for women to find themselves. Not dating, no question. I was looking for where to donate like people do on your lives, but I couldn't find it, so I did it here. I rarely catch the lives live due to work. Okay, the lives that I do due to your work. Okay, love seeing your other side on IG. Also, keep up the good work. Yeah, I leave all my stuff up on IG for you guys to see that I'm actually a real human being, not just a robot or an AI. Okay, so thank you for that message, Princess. I really appreciate that. I'll try and make a like a Stripe link for you guys that just want to donate on your own time outside of the live streams and things like that, because I have gotten that request a lot. So thank you, Princess, for that. I'll make a reminder for that for myself. Okay. Someone's name is making me laugh. God's favorite. Okay, so this question comes from Mrs. Electric Feel. Okay. Mrs. Electric Feel says, hot Hilton handyman. Okay. Hi, Thompson. Over the weekend, I was working a pride event at the Hilton, and at the end of the event, this amazingly hot worker put a ladder in front of my table. Wait, what? How would a ladder in front of your table? And I got to watch a huge, dark, and handsome guy take down huge gay day signs, and his muscles were popping out everywhere. We made flirty eyes at each other. I definitely did it right, and he was surprised to find out I speak pretty good Spanish. Turns out he's from Colombia on a work visa. He asked me about my artwork, and we made small talk in between the times his tiny authority man was bossing him around. Why did you say that like that? That's tiny authority man. That's a funny way to say that. I like that. He passed my table twice before it was time for me to pack up and go. Well, okay. I feel like we should be asking the real obvious question. This is a pride event, right? So this is a pride event, right? So are we sure that he's straight? I mean, I'm assuming you had the conversation with him, but I don't know if you mentioned it here, right? So we'll see. I even sent a video of this Adonis to Ivy, and I was like, what do? I don't even know his name. I was trying to let him take the lead and ask for my name, something, but he didn't get it. We just kept stupidly making eyes and smiling at each other. Okay, so what is his orientation? Okay, did we address that? He could have been married, who knows? But so you're not sure? Did you not confirm? Did you not confirm his orientation? But giving him the benefit of the doubt, I felt this was an opportunity missed if he was not. Why would we not confirm his orientation? Electric Field, if you're in the chat, did you not confirm his orientation? Given the small window of time he got to spend in front of me, passing by me, I feel like something could have happened to help us get together later. But the moment passed, and now it's an impossibility. If this happens in the future, what can I do differently too, while still leaving it up to him to be the man and come towards me? Okay, so obviously, like, we do have to address, he honestly could have been there and just being a friendly gay guy that's not interested in women. So I don't like, you also have to understand that's a possibility of why he didn't make a move, because that wasn't his intention, right? And so he was genuinely just being flirty, right? That's why I thought maybe you mentioning it was a pride event was like relevant to the fact that like how you met him. But like, I definitely think it being a pride event, you have to be ultra sensitive to the fact that the guy you're talking to might be gay, right? Like you have to be thinking about that as relevant to the fact that you're like in or around a pride event, right? So I don't know if maybe you just didn't mention it and you had a conversation with him about it, or if you never even asked him about it, you just assumed that he was straight because he looked straight, right? You can't make that assumption, especially if you're at a pride event or around one. So there's that. Now, assuming that he's straight here, there's only so much you can do and you're supposed to do as a woman. So actually, this is great because we talked about this when we were talking about in the beginning of the show when we watched that video together about being around or choosing someone that's not your type. Here's the thing as well. You have to understand, for you as a woman, you will be the most successful in your relationships with men that choose you. So what you'll get to be in your feminine energy, in your feminine aura, in your feminine, all that good stuff, when you have a guy and are around a guy that has chosen you as well, because then you won't have to beg for things. And then you also won't be in a position where you feel like, oh my God, I've got to like twist and turn and bend backwards and look straight and look up and look down and do this and do that in order to get this guy to notice me or take on the masculine role and the leadership role and the chasing and pursuit role that a man is supposed to take on, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? And so the reason I say that is because when you're thinking about a guy being a suitable partner for you or a possible partner for you, you have to be also understanding, I am only looking for a guy who will also fit the mold of being able to have a desire to pursue me and a desire to like approach me and escalate the situation. You should say to yourself, I have no desire to be with the man where after we have conversation and I give him signals that I'm into him and I'm flirty with him, that I still have to like ask for his number, or I still have to like say, let's go out on a date, or I still have to like organize the date, or whatever the case may be. You should have the understanding that if you have to do that with a man, then he's not your man. Okay, because what's happening here, electric feel, is you're kind of doing it like the guy way. You're basing everything that you feel about him off of like the fact that you think he looks good, right? His muscles were popping out. And then obviously you guys have some flirty conversation, but you're not factoring in, is he also showing me the signs that he's that interested in me? Because you should be, I know it sounds weird, but you should be unattracted to guys who you know for sure aren't really very into you, aren't that hot about you. Because if you make the mistake of pursuing men who you're more into them than they are into you, then you'll end up getting taken advantage of and you'll end up getting used. So even if that guy, let's say you did ask for his number or say, hey, we should go out on a date sometime or whatever, I would say don't talk to that man ever again, because I wouldn't want you in a situation where you're having to do that work, because that only means down the line you're going to have to be in your masculine in order to make the relationship work. So all you do is signal to a man that there is runway here for you to come and approach me. Like we talk about with your body language, your eyes, looking like you're happy to be there, looking like you're, approachable, not having an RBS, right? RBF, sorry. And allowing people to like it be invited to come and talk to you and approach you and making it easy for them. We've talked about that in other shows. But once you do your part, right? Once you do that job that you're supposed to do as a woman to make it easier to approach you, the man has to then take on his own role and responsibility. And if he's unwilling to do that, you're hands off. Okay, you're that's all you can do. There is no more doing. There is no more talking. There is no more asking. There is no more action that you're supposed to be taking than that. Once you set them up with the environment for success and they don't want to take action from there, that's their own choice. That's their own prerogative. You can't force a man to want to take action or stimulate him to want to take action up until setting up the right environment. Once you set up the right environment, that's all you're supposed to be doing there as a woman. So my advice for you would be, obviously, you work on your strategies to create the right environment, make yourself approachable. But once you do that, nothing more for you ever. Okay. Because it's not even going to end up good for you. All right. Let's go to our next question here. This one comes from, it says God's favorite. Let me make sure that this was properly submitted here. Okay. All right. God's favorite. This is funny. All right. So how to punish a man. Let me pull this up properly. How to punish a man. God's favorite child. Hi, Tomisin. Me and him have been talking / dating for 6 months now. And at the first 4 months, things felt very great and it was going in the right direction. He moved with intention and future with me. I'm assuming English is not your first language because you're kind of missing some stuff. Introduced me to his close friends and treated me like a princess, etc. However, recently we planned to meet 3 weeks ago, but then it seems like he forgot about it and didn't follow through with it. I didn't either and went with my best friends instead that day. And then it's now been 4 weeks that we haven't been having quality talks like we used to. Okay, you've been dating for 6 months. Okay. Now 4 weeks, and now it's been 4 weeks that we haven't been having quality talks like we used to. Have a call once in a while for a few hours with quality conversations. And we haven't been on dates either. So you haven't been on a date with the guy you've been dating for 6 months. You haven't been on a date with him for 4 weeks. Okay. He still checks up on me every 2 to 3 days. How you feeling, my beautiful baby, or something similar. I have been feeling anxious lately and feel like there's something going on. There is. But as you taught us to never ask him if something's wrong and let him figure it out himself, or otherwise he is not that into me. You got it correct. He once asked for space before, as he's an entrepreneur and he wanted to focus on work and catch up with himself. But he reassured me that this is not against our dating and he still wanted to date me. After that 4 weeks of not seeing each other, he came back to me and expressed how much he missed me and how much he worked so hard so he can create more space and time to date me. Okay. But now that this is happening again, but he didn't communicate to me in advance, I feel like I'm being left in the dark. I tried to move on with my life by following my usual schedule and being unbothered, but we put so much time and investment to build this connection together in the last 6 months, and I don't know what to do from here. So my questions are, I know you said to punish the guy if he comes back in this scenario, how to punish him. So, okay, a couple of things here. You've been dating him for 6 months, right? You guys aren't boyfriend and girlfriend. First time he took his space, he said it was for the purpose of, building, he's an entrepreneur, basically work, and that, he would make sure to put things in place to better be able to date you better in the future. Okay. The advice I'm giving, okay, this is toxic advice. None of you start saying, Tomisin, you're supposed to be like a therapist. You're supposed to be giving us healthy advice. Sometimes I'm going to have to give you toxic advice if you want a way that will work for you. My advice to you, okay, you want to give him a jolt to the system, is the next time he asks you to hang out, whatever day that is, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever day, you tell him, no thanks. So actually your response, when he says, hey, you want to go out for a dinner, you say, no thanks. He's going to naturally say, why? What's wrong? Like, you don't do an explanation. You just say, no, thanks. He can say, why? What's wrong? Why can't you go on the date? You say, honestly, I wanted to do something else on that day rather than hang out with you, like hanging out with my friends or going out and things like that. So I wanted to just plan something else that day. And then he might say, well, what about this day? Or what about that day? Or change the date. And you just say, no, thanks. And then when he says, wait, why can't you do any of the days? You tell him, honestly, I don't really see you that much. I'm not really that interested in hanging out with you like that. I'd rather do something fun with my friends because we rarely even see each other anyways. I know some of you are going to be like, damn, that's going to sting. That's going to hurt to say. That's kind of mean to say. Yes, that's the point. What you then want to happen is whatever day he asks you to hang out, I want you to actually go out with your friends, do something, okay? Then in the process of you going out, this is where the secret trick is. This is the toxic part, right? So part of the secret trick, you're gonna go out on the day that you guys were supposed to hang out that you denied. You're also gonna wear whatever he loves to see you in. Okay, so whatever he thinks makes you look amazing, that nice red dress, okay, that black dress, those jeans, whatever it is that he likes to see you in, he's complimented on you a lot. You wear exactly that, you dress exactly that way, and I want you to post yourself up on Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat, wherever you guys interact on. You post yourself up on there looking amazing, exactly how he likes you to look. Going out with your friends, having a great time, enjoying yourself. The reason I say this is because this is going to be a jolt for a guy. He's going to realize, oh, shoot, wow, like my girl, the girl I thought was my girl, is actually going out, enjoying her life, and she's not even interested in hanging out with me anymore. And she's actually having fun. And she's going out, and then this is the reason why I want you to wear exactly what he loves on you. He's going to see you posted up in your outfit looking amazing. He'll be like, damn, she's hot. Damn, she's sexy. Reminded, right? He's also going to start projecting and saying, oh my God, she's so hot. She's going to go out. Another guy's going to see her looking this hot, going to approach her, going to start talking to her. It's going to start making him feel, long story short, like you're slipping away from him. He's losing you, right? But this is good. This is a good jolt. It's the same reason why when you break up with the man, all of a sudden he wants to make a whole bunch of changes. Then when you do that, you gauge his response, right? In some scenarios, if the guy really cares, he'll be like, okay, next week, I got a whole thing planned for us. We're going to go here. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. He'll start actually showing some action because he'll see that you're not going to beg for his time and attention. You'll just start moving forward with your life. Obviously, the other side of that is he could respond by just saying, all right, F you, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. But the reason I say that that's the best option is because it forces him to make one decision or the other. Either start taking this serious or you're going to slip away. So then the choice becomes his and you don't have to do any begging. Okay. He used to reassure me a lot. like how he doesn't see other girls, and asked whether we are exclusive, etc. I was going to answer, but he talked a lot, and the conversation went over our head as it went on, so I never got the chance to tell him my answer. Should I clarify to him that I only see him too, or just give him a vague answer so this might pressure him to ask me out officially? No. If he doesn't bring it up, he doesn't talk about it, don't bring it up for no reason. You want your guy bringing up being exclusive. You never, as a woman, want to be the one pressuring or making it seem like you're the one that needs this. You don't need it to be nothing, right? You're a fairy. She was a fairy. She was a fairy. That's you, okay? You sprinkling fairy dust everywhere you go. You don't have time to be worried about whether or not he wants you guys to be exclusive. Why? Because you want men to be the one pressing you about being exclusive because of how much he wants you. Now, obviously, you need to be gauging that. Does he actually want you or does he not care, right? But you don't bring it up. As I met his close friends, who are the most important factor in his life, should I still give us a chance or move on if he doesn't initiate more efforts? Well, when you met his close friends, were you able to have good conversation with them and get to be able to learn about them and learn about what they're like, or was it just meeting them in general? As he checks up on me, once every 2 to 3 days without planning dates, should I give him cold responses or as this is low effort, or should I push and pull? I would say just message him for now. Message him when he messages you, nothing more. Okay. Answer his questions. If he's asking you questions, nothing more. I don't think you need to overdo this. I also don't think you necessarily need to ignore him. But I don't think you need to overdo trying to be overly kind, overly friendly, or even overly trying to extend the conversations. I was planning to bring up the fact that he forgot about the date or if he asked me out for our date, but also should I act cold on messages and when we meet? How long should I punish him for being forgetful of our date? This is the first time and not putting in efforts. Is it too much to bring all of it up in one conversation? Would it scare him away? No. Do exactly what I said at the beginning when I started answering your questions, right? You go and you do your own thing. And then when he asked why you don't want to hang out, you tell him it's because he's not been punctual with the dates and the planning of the dates, that you'd rather do something fun with your friends. That is like a hit. It hurts, right? Because not only is he realizing that like he did something to hurt you, but he's also realizing you're not going to beg him to act right. You're just going to move forward with your life. That's a good understanding for men to have of you when they start dating you, that you don't need them to be in your life or give you attention for your life to be good or happy. But if they're not acting right, you will respond accordingly. You're an adult and you're able to manage your own feelings and move forward, right? So that is a good way to show yourself in the relationship. I'm planning to ignore him when he next checks up on me until he messages and apologizes for the weird behaviors. That could also work if you feel like what he did was so egregious that it needs to be addressed by him and he needs to state that he actually is sorry for it, then that's perfectly fine as well. Do you think this is a good move? If once he apologized, should I be sweet to him again? I would best say the best way for you to teach him a lesson, honestly, rather than even ignoring, is to show him that you will move on with your life if he does not act accordingly. The only way you show him that is by actually doing it, right? By actually denying hanging out with him and then going and doing your own thing on the day where he wanted to spend time with you. Do you get what I'm saying? Can I push him by asking him to make it up to me by picking me up from work? No. You don't ask him for ask him for nothing. Ask him for nothing. But then I also do want him to pick me up from work because he loves and cares for me in the future if things go well. Is this a good idea? No. The biggest mistake you can make in one of these type of situations is asking him for anything. You don't ask him for anything for the simple fact that when you really want to punish a guy, you want to show him that you care less about him, less about his attention, less about whether or not he's texting you or calling you or wanting to hang out with you. That's how you actually punish a man. When you say, oh, make it up to me by picking me up every day, make it up to me by calling me every day, make it up. No. You don't come up with no ideas for nothing, right? You take your energy back. Then the men become sad little puppies. They come to you. They ask, why are you taking your energy back? You don't care about me anymore. You don't text me. You don't call me. You don't want to hang out with me. Turn him into a sad little puppy. That is when he's the most malleable, moldable, and open to suggestion of trying to make a change or adjust his behavior. And when you get him in a sad little puppy stage, I even advise you, even then, let him even take the extra step of coming up with the ways he's going to make things up to you, right? And you basically essentially, when he addresses you and says, why are you not talking to me anymore? Why you don't want to hang out with me? All of this other stuff, right? He gets in a sad little puppy phase, right? And you state to him what you don't like or what hasn't been working for you, which is why you started moving forward and doing your own thing. Then he'll start saying, okay, well, what if I do this? Or what if I change this? Or what, right? Let him come up with the ideas, and then your response should mainly just be okay, right? You know you're doing a good job in this dynamic if coming back from this, your response only has to be okay, because he's coming up with the ideas or the changes that need to be made in order for your relationship to go back to what he would consider good and a homeostasis, right? Not you begging, oh, please, okay, can you please pick me up from work every day? Okay, can you call me every... No, don't do that. Okay. That's not even punishment for men. They'll love that, because then it's like you're desperate for his time and attention. So it doesn't even feel like he did anything wrong. In fact, he'll start saying, maybe I should ignore her more, because that's when she shows me the most attention. You can't make men feel like you give them more attention when they start ignoring you. You have to make them feel like if they don't act right, they get none of your time or energy. Literally none. You don't even realize who they are anymore. Okay. This one comes from Mary. I don't think that this was a proper, you try to be sneaky. I don't think this was a premium question, because I saw God's favorite. I didn't see yours. So Mary, don't be sneaky here. Okay. Let's do a couple from our free section as well. Okay. We did this one from LP Baby. Yep. Okay. This one comes from Casey. Okay. Casey says, attracting men that want casual when I want a relationship. Okay. I don't think that's how you meant the but okay. Cassie, we'll say Cassie. Hi, Tomisin. I am 23 and I broke up with my ex about a year ago due to him cheating. Okay. We met when we were 18 together all the way up until we were 22. This was someone I truly loved, and the portrayal I felt is something I'll never forget, and I know it will take years before I am 100% healed. He's not important in the story, but just for context. Okay, interesting. I started dating again, probably a lot sooner than I should have. We broke up in the summer. I started dating by fall. And unfortunately, finding these men through dating apps. But I only use Hinge, which is the best out of all of them, right? Wrong. Okay. None of the dating apps are good, because they're all predicated on meeting a man's pictures before you actually meet the man. And they allow men to present themselves in ways that you won't necessarily know if you and that guy are aligned. Okay. So wrong. No dating apps are good. Anyways, since then, I have met plenty of guys, but 3 men stuck out to me the most at different time periods, of course. Man 1, August to November. Man 2, November to February. Man 3, January to April. Damn, there's no break. It's convenient that each man is conveniently from one period, and then the next man picks up literally like right away. So I'm worried. Are these men sticking out to you because they actually stick out to you, or are you jumping from man to man? Okay. It's just interesting that your timeline goes like that. Very interesting. That I actually wanted to seriously date and be in a relationship with, but it has not worked out every single time, and the conclusion is always the same. Okay. Now that this scenario has happened to me 3 times, clearly a pattern, I would love to hear what you think. Basically, I met this great man, amazing dates. In the beginning, I would express that I want a relationship, but I want to take it slow. Go with the flow. No. Going with the flow, you shouldn't be saying that, okay? That's not sending the right message. Going with the flow is implying that you are okay with things being unintentional. That's not, don't be saying that when you're talking to guys or talking about what you expect out of a relationship. Don't be saying that, okay? And not rush anything. That's not, you're not sending the right message that way, okay? He would then say that he also wants a relationship, which makes me think we are on the same page. Well, on the same page with go with the flow, that's not what you want. You don't want go with the flow as it relates to a guy, okay? I have always believed in the 3-month rule for dating. By 3 months, a man should definitely know if he wants to pursue something serious with you or not. Yes and no, because in 3 months, various things could be happening. You could be dating a man every day, and let's just say hypothetically, you could see him every day for 3 months, and seeing him 3 hours a day, you'll know him a lot better than if you saw him once a week for 3 months. Do you get what I'm saying? So the frequency is also going to play a part in how much you know or don't know a man in that time period. So you can't just say 3 months is my golden rule, because what if you don't see him for 2 weeks and you only see him every 2 weeks, right? So once I got to the few month mark with all of these men, exclusively dating them at this point, I would get antsy and anxious since there was no sign of commitment coming anytime soon. Well, okay. I'm so glad you sent this question in the way that you did. But the universe works in mysterious ways. Ask and you shall receive. What did you actually ask for? I want a relationship, but I want to take things slow and go with the flow, not rush anything. This is what you said. This is like a couple sentences before. So do you see how if you were dating a guy and these are the things you're saying to this guy on this date, well, no wonder you're frustrated. You're asking for the wrong thing. You're setting the wrong expectation of even what you want and what you expect and what your needs are. So not to be real with you, you're confused about what you want, because what you're describing is the complete opposite of what you're saying you're looking for. Because you're saying that by the 3-month mark, you want him to know exactly what he wants and that he wants to be with you and you want him to want commitment with you. But that's not the same as taking it slow, going with the flow and not rush anything. That's not the same thing. So I'm not saying you go on your dates and say, oh, I expect you to be dating me exclusively by the 3-month mark. But then if you're getting asked what your expectations are of a relationship or the type of relationship that you even want, you should be talking about moving with intention. You should be talking about your goal of being married. You should be talking about your goal of being in a long-term, serious, sustainable relationship. Not saying things like going with the flow, especially. And, oh, let's not rush anything or whatever, right? Because that all just sounds like let's be friends with benefits forever. You can't talk like that. That's not even what you want, right? Okay, so you said, then I would have to bring the dreaded, what are we? But what happened to taking things slow, right? Conversation. And I swear every time the man replies, oh, there's so much going on right now with my life, with work, everything. I'm just not ready and not in the right space right now to pursue something serious. But you kind of already asked for that. Let's not rush anything. Let's go with the flow. That's what you asked for. That's what you said you were looking for, right? You see how that hurts you? It hurts because it makes me believe that they don't like me enough to be willing to put in the effort it would take for a relationship. Because honestly, my life is so hard right now, is BS and sounds like an excuse. It is. Has absolutely frustrated me. I'm building a connection with these men for no reason when I made it clear what I wanted from the beginning. But did you? Because you might be thinking that, but if this is what you're saying on your dates, I want to take it slow, go with the flow, and not rush anything, you're not sending the right message, right? This is a great message because we can help to see, right, how there's misalignment here. I'm not saying these guys are wrong for being unintentional or wasting time, but that also means from when you start dating someone, you need to be also sending the right message of what you're looking for. Telling someone you want to go with the flow is not sending the right message. And I know it seems so minute, so small. You're like, Tomisin, how can that one thing that I'm saying be changing the whole difference of how I end up in a relationship with these guys? Because if you're talking about this or having this conversation at the beginning of meeting a guy, you're setting the expectation. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why I always emphasize the first couple of dates, the perception that you have of yourself, the way you talk about yourself, because all of that, right, at your first couple of dates, your first times meeting a guy, it's like pouring the cement initially, right? When you pour that cement in the beginning, that's when it's the most moldable. You can put your hand in it, you can put your foot in it, you can draw in it, you can make it take any shape that you want. But you have to be very meticulous and detailed about what shape you want it to take. Because by the time you get into 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 1 year, your cement hardens, right? Your relationship hardens, your dynamic hardens, meaning the dynamic you set in your relationship based on everything you were doing and talking about in the beginning will now be what is your relationship in its entirety for the rest of your relationship. And now when you're trying to change things or reverse things or say, no, I didn't mean that, I meant this instead, then you'll become frustrated with the results you'll see, because it's very hard to change a relationship dynamic once it's been set in stone. Okay? So, P.S. on my possible faults, I feel like I want a relationship again so badly that I make it very easy for men and they don't have to work hard. For example, always being available and going on dates that may classify as low effort. What do you mean by that? I hope you're not talking about going to a guy's house for a sleepover. What do you mean by that? I do want to note that I did hook up with all 3 guys, which I'm sure is a factor in them feeling that we can just be casual. I don't like when you guys ask me questions and you know why things are changing. You know why this guy's feeling different about you. And this is what some of you do. I've seen it happen a couple of times now. You sneak relevant information in the bottom, thinking that I'll skim over it and I'll just be like, oh, it's whatever. When you know, you've been a bad girl. You know, you should have put that information at the top. You know that you should have. Because you know that's relevant to how the guys are interacting with you and how they're choosing to treat you. You know, if you're sleeping with the guy first couple of dates, first 2-3 dates, you know that's going to affect how he treats you. Know. You've been watching my show long enough, you know. So you're sneaking it in the bottom, thinking that I'm just going to gloss over it. Oh, that's not it's a factor. And you know it's a factor. You're asking a question about a whole bunch of other stuff when you know this is factoring in why you're seeing the result you're seeing. Okay? I tell you all the time, part of the reason I say don't sleep with the guy early on is because you also need to not put yourself in a position mentally that you are going to have to save the relationship for scraps because you're scared of wasting a body. I tell you guys this all the time. If you sleep with the man early, not only will it mess up his perception of you, you will start to feel like if he's not showing up for me, he's not being intentional with me, he doesn't seem that interested in me anymore, you'll start to have this subconscious pressure that I need to do something to save this. Because if I don't save this and he just disappears into thin air and stops talking to me, I will have wasted a body. I have slept with this man already, and if now we don't end up together, this is literally pointless. So then what happens is a lot of you will start to be like, well, I'll just have to take whatever I can get, whatever attention I can get, whatever communication I can get, whatever hangouts I can get. I'll just take what I can get so that I don't end up in a position where we don't talk at all, right? I tell you guys this all the time. You can't do that to yourself. It makes it so much harder for you to walk away when you realize he's not being intentional. The moment you do that, you put so much pressure on yourself to try and save the situation after. Because I know you care about your bodies, so I know you don't just want to sleep with the guy and then poof, he's disappeared, you're done, you don't speak to him anymore, right? I know a man will sleep with any girl, so sleeping with me is not going to make him like me more. But I feel like if I don't give it to him within the first few months, he will either get bored or look for someone else. Oh my God. Let me take a stretch. Let me take a stretch. Oh my God. Chat, sometimes I have to like scream the frustration out. So don't mind me if I'm yelling a little bit. Okay, don't mind me. Okay. Cassie, my show is made for women like you, okay? This is a virus, okay? This is a virus that you're suffering from. It's a very dangerous virus, very dangerous, very serious, okay? We need to get this virus out of you, out of your body, out of your system, out of your soul, out of your spirit, okay? You need to understand. You cannot give a damn what a man is, whether he's bored or uninterested in you for not sleeping with you. This virus that, oh, if I don't sleep with him, oh my God, he's running away from me. He's not going to be interested in me anymore. Oh my God, Tomisin, what if he doesn't like me anymore if I don't throw that puss? Stop. Stop. This is what's called a scarcity mindset. Cassie, this is a virus, okay? It's a scarcity mindset because you're of the belief that everything is running away from you, okay? The problem with that is when you get into your relationships and you have a scarcity mindset, you will always be operating from a place of lack. Oh my gosh, I can't find love, so I just need anything that you can give me, any attention that you can give me, any scraps that you can give me, any bare minimum treatment that you can, I just take anything because it's all running away from me. And all these men are going to disappear on me eventually. So anything I can get, I'll take, right? That scarcity mindset will seep through your pores, right? It'll make you very unattractive and unappealing to men. And the only men that will actually be attracted to you when you're in that scarcity mindset are men who know that they can take advantage of you because of how desperate you are in that scarcity mindset. What we're trying to do here with my show and with all the teachings that I have is we're trying to introduce into your life an abundance mindset. I don't give a damn whether or not he's interested in me if I don't sleep with him. If he's not interested in me because I don't sleep with him, he can go F himself, literally. Because you have to understand, as long as you keep your power in not folding and not sleeping with him, not giving in to what you think he wants, he can walk away, go wherever he wants. He can, go to Africa if he wants. And it doesn't affect you because you didn't give him anything in the process of you guys meeting or dating, right? He came to you, he approached you, he wanted to be with you. I'm not saying you can't like guys, but then if you're not sleeping with him and he says, oh, I'm bored now, I'm uninterested, I want to go about my business and go talk to a different girl, sure. And then, then you get to be there and say, cool, I dated a guy, sure, it was a couple months of my life, but I didn't sleep with him. And he didn't get nothing from me. So he left with nothing. I got dates out of it. He took me out. I had a nice time. And he went about his business. But I don't have to feel like I wasted a body. I don't have to feel like I gave a piece of myself to this guy where I'm like, damn, I feel really sick about that. I feel really saddened about that, right? Like you're in such a better position of leverage and power when you don't give that away, especially if it's not the right time for that, right? You definitely can't be in a scarcity mindset where you're giving that to men because you're scared of them being uninterested in you, okay? Right? Maple says, what if you really wanted it? If you really wanted it, what you do is you go into the link in my bio on TikTok or in my description on YouTube. I put there for all, I think of everything. I put there for all you guys, the best possible toy that you can use to have all of the climaxes that you can possibly think of, okay? I literally did that for that specific reason. Maple, you're asking, what if you really wanted it? I solved that answer for that question for you, okay? I found a toy through extensive research. I did extensive research, okay? Don't ask me how. Lots of research I did to make sure this is the best possible toy that you can use, whether you're, I'm not joking either, whether you're a clit girl, whether you're a penetration girl, it all works, okay? The toy does both. Actually, right? It's not just the rose. It has the suction motion and it has the penetration and it has the vibration and it has the different settings. I did extensive research. Go get that toy, right? There's a discount. The link is in my bio and is in my description. You get that toy. You use that toy before you go out on your dates. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. You use that toy before you go out on your dates. You use that toy in your ovulation periods. In fact, actually, for most of you who are crazy, ovulation days, you don't even see guys, okay? Don't even go on a date on your ovulation days. And just the days where you're feeling extra worked up, you use that toy before you go out. I'm not joking, okay? So that's supposed to solve that. So you don't go on your date thinking crazy. looking at men like no. If you're going out, you're thinking not straight. You're thinking you have a monster within you in between your legs. You're not gonna be able to have success dating. I'm just being honest with you. You won't have success dating because you won't be thinking straight. Okay, I just it'll all work against you. I'm not joking. Okay, so get that toy if you have that problem. Please help. There must be something I'm doing right. You mean wrong? You doing wrong? Because how is this happening to me so much? So we talked about that earlier. Why am I attracting these type of men? Also, most importantly, why do men say they want a relationship when they first meet you, but then months later they change their story? Because they have an understanding of what they believe you want to hear. So one of the worst questions to ask when you go out on a date, ironically, is what are you looking for? Because most men are trained that giving you the right answer will get them the right result. For example, if you meet a guy on Hinge and you go out on a date with the guy from Hinge, he is automatically assuming that you're looking for a long-term serious relationship. So when you ask him what he's looking for, most guys are going to say, I'm looking for a long-term serious relationship, because they know that's the answer you want to hear. If they give you the answer you want to hear, they know the chances of them being able to get access to you, aka sleep with you, are a lot higher. So they give you the answer you want to hear. Does that mean that it's true? Absolutely not. Okay? So in that process, you have to understand guys will say a lot of things, but you can't take everything that they say as the 100% honest truth. You have to give yourself space to say, okay, this is what you said. I understand it's not necessarily going to be true, and I have to give myself time to be able to see what you're about, see what you're consistent in, see what you're inconsistent in before I decide for myself whether or not you're the guy for me and you're the guy that I want to be with for real. And you're actually on the same page as me. Okay. Right. Someone in the chat said men are liars. Basically, right? Men are liars. People lie, right? You can't go on your dates with strangers and assume they're telling you 100% of the truth. I know in a perfect world, that's how it would be. People would just be super honest with you, tell you everything about themselves, not lie about anything. That's not how it works. Okay. You on Hinge scrolling, you're going on dates with strangers, okay? So when you go on a date with a stranger, assume they're not going to tell you the truth about everything, okay? They're going to lie about some stuff. They're going to fabricate some things. They're going to exaggerate some things. They're going to under-exaggerate some things. You have to be okay with that, accept that as the truth, and understand that as time goes on, you will eventually learn what's real and what's fake, okay? You will eventually learn that one way or another, right? Abike says, do we call out what we see? Are you talking about like on your first few dates? There's no reason to. Especially, this is going to sound very sneaky, chat, very sneaky, a little bit of a pro tip, right? When you're catching someone in a lie, or when you sense that someone is lying, the worst thing you can do is call out the lie right away, especially if you don't have enough information to fully understand what the lie is or what the lie consists of or what the truth is. Whenever you sense someone is telling you a lie or fabricating a story or changing it up, the best thing you can do is continue to gather information. And so if they don't know that you're onto their lie and you just say, yeah, you know, I totally believe you 100%, then that's when you can actually discover more information about the lie. Do you get what I'm saying? It's the best example I can give. Those of you who know the Wizard Liz's story of her getting cheated on by her ex, right? Ironically, as crazy as it sounds, the best way to go about a situation like that, if you want to see how far the guy will go, or you want to see what is the truth, then you let the guy follow through with it. You peep it, you monitor it, and just let him continue doing what he's been doing, and then see how far he's willing to take it. Then, if you actually get an understanding or find out that he's really genuinely cheated on you, like slept with another girl, cheated on you, then you know for sure what extent he was willing to take it, right? The reason I say that is because sometimes you can catch someone in a lie too early, and they're able to like, oh, it wasn't this, it wasn't that, it was this thing, and you know, I didn't really mean it like this or mean it like that. And then you get put in a horrible position because you're like, damn, that kind of does make a little bit of sense. Damn, that kind of does kind of sound like that could be possible. So then you don't know how to respond because you don't know if it was a full lie or if it was a half lie or if it was an acceptable lie, right? So it's better for them to go through with it, right? So what I'll say to you, Cassie, in this situation, for you, the most important thing that you need to fix or adjust is being more understanding of what it is that you're saying in the beginning of, meeting a guy, of what your expectations are. Number one, not being and living in a scarcity mindset of guys are running away from you and that you need to keep them interested by sleeping with them. Absolutely not. Okay. And the third thing is understanding in the process of you not sleeping with the man, in the process of you not living with the scarcity mindset, that you allow men to show you who they really are as time goes on. Some guys will show you that they're in it for the long haul and they're capable of being sustainable and consistent with you. And some guys will show you that, hey, if you're not going to sleep with me first night, second night, third night, if you're going to make me work for this, if you're going to make us build a successful relationship, then I don't want to be here. That's perfectly fine. That's okay. That's not the type of man you're looking for anyways. Okay? Does that make sense? Right? All right, chat. That is the show for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this bit of a different format. Okay. For those of you who have any questions for me, feel free to submit them, whether it be via our free relationship advice form, our premium one, or our private one. You can send me questions that way. Private link is in my description, also in my TikTok bio. All right. For those of you who want to rewatch the show because you came late or missed any points from TikTok, you can always go to my YouTube. My YouTube channel is just above my head. It's my name, Tomisin. You go to my YouTube channel, go to the live section. You'll see this live stream and all the other live streams I've done since the beginning of time. By the way, chat, I'm also still going to be doing my whiteboard shows, but I'm going to put them as like pre-recorded shows and they'll be on the main channel as well. But we'll kind of try and do more reactions. We'll talk about different topics as well on the live show here and incorporate some different elements. I like to change things up, keep it spicy, keep it interesting, but we're still going to have the main elements that you guys all enjoy as well on the show. Okay. I'll see you guys again. Oh, my Instagram is there as well. For those of you guys want to follow me on Instagram, Tomisin_Atub. I'll see you guys again on Thursday. I'm here every Monday and Thursday. So I'll see you guys on Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be on time on Thursday because I have this all figured out. Okay. So I'll see you then. Until we meet again, I bid you adieu. Arrivederci. Oh, someone says, can you wish me a happy birthday? Elizabeth Miller, happy birthday. How old are you turning, Elizabeth Miller? And that reminds me, I have some donations. Anastasia donated $8 in the YouTube chat. I appreciate you so much. And shout out to everyone who donated in the TikTok chat as well. I really appreciate all of you for donating. Happy birthday, Elizabeth Miller. Is it anyone else's birthday in the chat? Okay. Anyways, happy birthday. Hope you have a great day. Hope this was a great show for you. Okay. All right, chat. I bid you adieu. Arrivederci. Au revoir. Hasta la vista. Bounty. Ciao. Salam. Bon voyage. And I'll see you again on Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think I'm going to have some sushi, chat. I think that's what I'm going to order. Either sushi. Should I do sushi or shawarma? Which one? I'm going to make that decision in a second. All right. I'll see you later, chat. I love you so much. So much.